Chapter 22:44. I think you've lost your minds. You're about to die, yet you're still indulging in fantasy. Lin Feng pursed his lips. Du Zhu said with a smile, a bunch of trash. You don't even need to do anything. The zombie and I can easily get rid of them. That's right. It's a piece of cake. The evil dominator saint nodded. Du Xiao, Wu Guangyuan, and the others' faces turned gloomy. You don't know what's good for you. Kill these people. Du Xiao shouted coldly. Everyone moved. Du Xiao, Wu Guangyuan, Su Miaoqing, and Su Zhongtian. One of the other two experts from the Supreme Immortal Sect was called Wang Chui. The other was called Zhang Zhiyao. The 6 experts attacked together. They used their peerless skills right away. 9 Heavens Immortal Thunder Dao, 10,000 Heavenly Dragon Kill, Purgatory Reincarnation Fist, Supreme Celestial Destroying Palm, 10,000 Beast Subduing Demon Force, 9 Heavens God Falling Slash. The 6 experts' attacks were each more ferocious than the last. They were so terrifying that it was shocking. This won't do, young master. The 2 of us can't deal with them. You have to do it together. After feeling the terror of the 6 experts, the poison ancestor immediately cried out. His previous arrogance had already turned into fear and shock. The 6 experts looked cold. They were extremely confident in their combat strength. They looked at Lin Feng and the other 2 as if they were looking at dead people. In their opinion, Lin Feng and Du Zhu would not be able to escape today. Only death awaited them. Attack! Lin Feng shouted. Swoosh! Then, he, Du Zhu, and the evil dominator saint began to attack. In the face of their attacks, Lin Feng took out the defensive treasure he had obtained not long ago, the purple gold heavenly ball. It was a defensive treasure at the level of a boundary emperor weapon. Its defensive power was extremely strong. When Lin Feng took out the purple gold heavenly ball, the treasure immediately made a buzzing sound. Then, the purple gold heavenly ball released beams of purple divine light. The purple light enveloped Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretic sovereign saint. Bang, 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 bang. The attacks launched by the 6 experts bombarded the defensive system constructed by the purple gold heavenly ball. However, they failed to break the defensive system constructed by the purple gold heavenly ball. Seeing this, Lin Feng was pleasantly surprised. As expected of a quasi-emperor level defensive magic treasure, its power was simply too awesome. Du Zhu and the evil dominator saint were both experts among experts. They had rich battle experience. When Lin Feng took out the purple gold heavenly sphere to defend himself, the 2 of them launched their attacks. They locked onto one of the 6 masters who was closest to them. This expert was Wang Chui. This Wang Chui's cultivation should be between the peak of the giant god realm and the quasi-emperor realm. His combat prowess was abnormally terrifying. In order to kill him in one blow, Du Zhu and the evil dominator saint focused their power on this person. After Wang Chui made his move, he thought that even if Lin Feng and the other 2 could block his attack, it would be difficult for them to counterattack. Who would have thought that Lin Feng would take out a quasi-emperor level defensive magic treasure to block their attack? It should be known that defensive magic treasures were relatively rare, and high-level defensive magic treasures were even rarer. As for quasi-emperor level defensive magic treasures, they could be described as scarce. Therefore, after Lin Feng took out a quasi-emperor level defensive magic treasure, the 6 experts were caught off guard. Du Zhu and the evil dominator saint had a clear division of labor. Du Zhu released a large amount of poison to envelop Wang Chui. By the time Wang Chui realized it and wanted to retreat, it was already too late. Wang Chui's body was enveloped by Du Zhu's poison. Wang Chui's cultivation was strong. Although he was poisoned, he was not poisoned to death. But at this time, the evil dominator saint had already rushed out and instantly arrived beside Wang Chui. His sharp claws pierced towards Wang Chui's chest. Wang Chui turned pale with fright and hurriedly threw a punch at the evil dominator saint. Courting death. The other 5 experts shouted angrily and all charged towards the evil dominator saint. If it was anyone else, they would definitely choose to dodge the attacks of the 6 experts. After all, if their bodies were to withstand the attacks of the 6 experts, they would definitely die. But the evil dominator saint was different from ordinary cultivators. The evil Dominator Saint was a corpse cultivator that had evolved from the Emperor Corpse. The Emperor Corpse was too powerful and had an unparalleled physical body. It was not easy for ordinary people to hurt the evil Dominator Saint's physical body. The evil Dominator Saint's weakness was the soul. But obviously, this was the first time the 6 experts had seen the evil Dominator Saint. They could not understand the evil Dominator Saint's weakness like Lin Feng. Great entanglement technique. Lin Feng quickly attacked and a dense number of threads condensed. Those threads wrapped around Wang Chuyi's body, making it impossible for him to attack. If Wang Chuyi had not been poisoned, he could have broken the threads wrapped around his body. But Wang Chuyi was poisoned. Now, Wang Chuyi's cultivation had plummeted. It was difficult for him to break free from Lin Feng's great entanglement technique, which was condensed from 3,000 great das. Hence, Wang Chuyi's body was completely exposed in front of the evil Dominator Saint. Pooh! The evil Dominator Saint's sharp claws pierced through Wang Chuyi's chest. I'm going to die just like that? Wang Chuyi lowered his head and looked at the sharp claws that had pierced through his chest in disbelief. He could not help but laugh bitterly. Thinking back to his life, how many hardships had he experienced until now? But he did not expect that he would end up like this. Pooh! In the next moment, the evil Dominator Saint pulled out Wang Chuyi's heart. Die! The 5 experts roared as their powerful attacks landed on the evil Dominator Saint. Bang! Accompanied by the sound of a violent collision. The evil Dominator Saint was sent flying. But soon, the evil Dominator Saint stabilized his body. His body was unscathed. How is this possible? Su Miaoqing cried out in disbelief. Even a half-step emperor should have been killed by such a powerful attack. But the evil Dominator Saint was unscathed. This was unbelievable. Su Zhongtian said, "This corpse cultivator's physical body is too strong. Use your soul technique to destroy his soul." Su Zhongtian was indeed an experienced antique. He immediately discovered the evil Dominator Saint's weakness after exchanging blows. These people condensed their soul technique to destroy Su Zhongtian's soul. But at this moment, the evil Dominator Saint hurriedly flew toward Lin Feng. He entered the defensive divine light released by the purple-gold heavenly ball. Clang! A muffled sound of collision was heard. The soul technique of the 5 experts was blocked by the defensive divine light released by the purple-gold heavenly ball. They could not hurt the evil Dominator Saint at all. Chapter 22:45. You've already lost an expert. It seems like we're doomed to lose this battle. Lin Feng looked at the 5 experts indifferently. Kid, don't get too cocky. Today, I'll let you experience the ultimate inheritance of the Earth Masters. Earth Immortal World-Destroying Formation. Everyone, listen to my command. Return to your positions. Wu Guangyuan couldn't help but shout. Swish, 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 swish. The 5 experts scattered in all directions. At the same time, white fog billowed in the surroundings, covering the sky and the sun. The visibility was reduced to a dozen meters. Huh. Lin Feng frowned. He had a bad feeling. Even though he said he didn't care about the Geomasters, he didn't care. Although he didn't say much about the Earthmasters, Lin Feng still attached great importance to them. This faction had existed for such a long time, and it was still so strong. It was obvious how powerful it was. Although he could look down on any opponent, he would never underestimate any opponent. This was Lin Feng's way of doing things. Young master, the auras of those 5 people have completely disappeared, Du Zhu said gravely. Lin Feng nodded. It seems like these people have been scheming. They set up a formation here in advance and waited for me to arrive. Heretic Sovereign Saint said, "What should we do now?" "Let's see what they're going to do for now." "Let's go," Lin Feng said. Du Zhu and Heretic Sovereign Saint nodded. This was probably the best method for now. Using stillness to deal with change, using constancy to deal with all changes. No matter what the other party did, they could sense it in advance. Eternal reincarnation in a single thought. Billions of gods and Buddhas can reach the heavens. Your lifespan is the same as the heavens. Only Earth immortals can be immortal. Suddenly, a deep voice rang out. When that voice rang out, the entire world seemed to fall silent. Only that deep and ancient voice could be heard. It was as if everything in the world had changed. The cycle of reincarnation is nothing more than a single thought from me. There are billions of gods and Buddhas in this world. Your lifespans can even be as long as the heavens themselves. But in this world, I am the only one who is indestructible. This was such a grand and heroic poem. Billions of gods and Buddhas had a long lifespan, but in the end, they could not escape death and were destined to become dust. Only Earth Immortals could transcend the fate of reincarnation. Earth Immortal, an unknown and terrifying existence. Lin Feng knew that there was a realm above the Emperor realm. Lin Feng was actually not too clear on what realm they were at. However, he had heard that there was a distinction between true immortal and false immortal. Hollow immortals were not considered true immortals, but they surpassed great emperors. Above the false immortal was the true immortal. As for what level an earthly immortal was, Lin Feng had no idea. This was because he had not come into contact with the specific division of realms above the Emperor realm. Even the Demon Lord did not know. It could only be found in some ancient books. He found a few scattered clues to deduce how the realms above the great Emperor realm were divided. Shua. Within the white mist, immortal light surged. An ancient existence stepped forward. It was a man in snow-white robes. He was so otherworldly that he did not look like a mortal at all. He had an indescribable temperament. That temperament, no one could see it. They all felt ashamed of their inferiority. Could he really be an immortal? Du Zhu could not help but mutter, "Earth Immortal is immortal. All spirits bow down." The mysterious man stepped forward. A terrifying aura spread out, as if it was really the aura of an Earth Immortal. When the aura enveloped Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the evil Dominator Saint, the three of them felt like they could not move an inch. Their bodies were also trembling. Lin Feng even felt that his knees were about to fall to the ground. This was a kind of spiritual aura. He had never felt such a powerful and terrifying aura. Lin Feng hurriedly activated his epic aura. When the epic aura was activated, the terrifying aura disappeared. "Young master, we're in trouble. This guy's aura is so terrifying. I'm afraid we can't deal with him." Poison Ancestor cried out loudly. "Then what are we waiting for? Run!" Lin Feng shouted. He turned and ran with Du Zhu and the evil Dominator Saint. If they could win, they would fight. If they could not win, they would run. This was Lin Feng's way of doing things. If they could not win, they would have to be crazy not to run. The Earth Immortal was slightly taken aback. He did not expect Lin Feng and the other two to turn and run without hesitation. But then, the Earth Immortal sneered. His mouth was full of disdain. One had to admit that the array of the Earth Master lineage was really powerful. The Earth Immortal that was formed seemed to have his own thoughts. That was why this Earth Immortal was so terrifying. He quickly charged toward Lin Feng and the other two. Boom! Then, a terrifying palm slammed into the defensive divine light formed by the purple-gold heavenly sphere. Crack! Crack! The defensive divine light formed by the purple-gold heavenly sphere shattered. Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the evil Dominator Saint were all sent flying. Weak ants, only death awaits you. The Earth Immortal stood in the air and swept his cold gaze over Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the evil Dominator Saint. He flipped his right hand. Suddenly, an illusory world appeared in the air. In that illusory world, immortal palaces stretched endlessly. One could even vaguely see immortals discussing the Tao and fairies dancing gracefully. It was such a beautiful world. Just like the immortal realm, it was filled with infinite beauty. But when that world descended, Lin Feng felt endless killing intent from it. "Retreat!" Lin Feng shouted in a low voice. Swoosh! Swoosh! He, Du Zhu, and the evil Dominator Saint did not dare to stay and quickly retreated. "Despicable ants, do you think you can escape? That's too whimsical." The Earth Immortal sneered. The illusory world continued to expand. Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the evil Dominator Saint did not manage to escape from the illusory world. They were trapped by that illusory world. It directly enveloped them. Then, they were instantly swallowed up by that illusory world. In the next moment, that illusory world began to shrink. Soon, it had shrunk to the size of a bowl and floated in front of the earth immortal. "Let us out," Duzu shouted. "No need to shout. It's useless. We're trapped." Lin Feng frowned as he looked at the world that trapped them. Immortal light lingered around it. This world had now become a cage, trapping them inside. When they were outside, they saw that this world was filled with immortal palaces, and immortals were discussing the Tao and fairies were dancing gracefully. Now, all they saw was an empty world. There was no sound at all. It was so quiet that it was suffocating. It was like a world of death. There was only darkness and coldness. Chapter 22:46. Refine. The earth immortal stretched out his hands, and the shrunken world floated between them. Waves of powerful magic power surged out of the earth immortal's hands and poured into the shrunken world. The magic power burned. The earth immortal wanted to refine Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretic dominator saint who were trapped inside. In the illusory world, Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretic dominator saint's faces were grim. They tried to break the illusory world, but failed every time. As their magic power surged into the world, it burned fiercely. Lin Feng immediately felt the magic power in his body burning as well. "He wants to refine us," Lin Feng said in a low voice. "What do we do now, young master?" Du Zhu asked. He was out of ideas. "I didn't expect the Geomasters to have such a powerful legacy. That's unbelievable. But it's not like there's no way to break this illusory world," Lin Feng said with narrowed eyes. Du Zhu and the heretic dominator saint's eyes lit up when they heard that Lin Feng had a way to break the illusory world. Du Zhu asked, "What method have you thought of, young master?" "Immortal artifact, 5-dragon wheel." Lin Feng waved his right hand and brought out the 5-dragon wheel. "Oh my god, young master even has an immortal artifact," Du Zhu exclaimed. His eyes shone as he looked at the 5-dragon wheel. If not for Lin Feng, Du Zhu would have pounced on the 5-dragon wheel to snatch it. Activating the 5-dragon will requires a few million years of lifespan. The earth immortal formed by this formation is too powerful. So, I'm afraid just activating the 5-dragon wheel won't be enough to kill the earth immortal. We need to unleash the full power of the 5-dragon wheel. Each of us will burn 4 million years of lifespan to activate the 5-dragon wheel, Lin Feng said. Although it pained Du Zhu and the evil dominator saint to burn 4 million years of their lifespan, it was better than dying here, right? The two of them began to burn their lifespan. Lin Feng also began to burn his lifespan. Lin Feng had burned 3 million years of his lifespan in order to deal with that half-step emperor-level insect. Now that he had to burn another 4 million years of his lifespan, he was quite depressed. Originally, Lin Feng's lifespan had been greatly depleted when he had quadrupled his battle prowess. These breakthroughs, coupled with the fact that Lin Feng had cultivated the grand longevity technique, had continuously increased his lifespan. Therefore, Lin Feng's lifespan increased from 8 million years to 17 million years. However, after activating the 5-dragon wheel twice, Lin Feng only had 10 million years left in his lifespan. After burning 4 million years of their lifespan, each of them felt a little weak. Lifespan was one of the 9 great essences of cultivators. Burning one's essences would cause serious side effects to a cultivator's body. Burning too much of one's lifespan too frequently could even cause a cultivator to be unable to increase their cultivation in the future. Therefore, it was very taboo for cultivators to burn their lifespan. However, in order to survive, Lin Feng no longer cared about this. After burning 12 million years of his lifespan, he released a powerful essence energy. This essence energy was all poured into the immortal artifact, the 5-dragon wheel. The densely packed runes on the 5-dragon wheel began to awaken. Although only a small part of the runes had awakened, it was still terrifying enough. Roar! The dragon's roar resounded through the clouds and shook the void. The 5-dragon wheel's power had awakened. Slash! Lin Feng roared and directly activated the 5-dragon wheel to release a terrifying light beam that slashed at the illusory realm's crystal wall. Clang! The attack landed heavily on the crystal wall of the spectral world. Immediately, the crystal wall of the spectral world began to emit cracking sounds. Clearly, The illusory realm couldn't withstand the 5 dragon wheels' power. This made Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretical dominator Saint smile. As expected of an immortal artifact, its power was too strong. Burning 12 million years of their lifespan to activate the 5 dragon wheel wasn't a waste. Oh no! The Earth Immortal's expression changed slightly. Streaks of immortal light appeared in his hands. The streaks of immortal light turned into chains of order and entangled the illusory world. The Earth Immortal wanted to use this method to continue trapping Lin Feng and the others. However, his efforts were destined to be in vain. Clang, clang, clang. 3 consecutive strikes. Crack, crack, crack. The illusory realm shattered. Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretical dominator Saint broke free. Ha 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 ha. Since you've let us out, you'll be the one to die today. Die. Lin Feng sneered and controlled the 5 dragon wheel to attack the Earth Immortal. Eternal instant. The earthly immortal suddenly let out a long roar and unleashed an extremely terrifying sacred art. The moment the eternal instant was used, the illusory realm froze. The illusory realm froze. Even the 5 dragon wheel froze in the illusory realm. The corner of the Earth Immortal's mouth curled into a smug smile. However, in the next moment, the smug expression on his face froze. The 5 dragon wheel shook slightly. It broke the Earth Immortal's divine ability. Then, the 5 dragon wheel shot out a terrifying beam of light. It slammed into the Earth Immortal's body. Bang! A muffled sound of collision was heard. The Earth Immortal was sent flying by the 5 dragon wheel. Wow, the 5 dragon wheel is really powerful. Du Zhu yelled. A bunch of bastards. Do you think you can kill us just because you've set up some *T formation and created some *T Earth Immortal? You're daydreaming. We were just teasing you. If we want to kill you, it'll be a matter of minutes. Now that Du Zhu was full of confidence, he became arrogant again and kept provoking the 5 experts who were hiding in the dark. However, the 5 experts did not respond to Du Zhu. They probably did not want to expose their location. In fact, Lin Feng knew that Du Zhu had another purpose in provoking the 5 experts. He wanted to find out where they were hiding. If he could kill them, the formation would collapse on its own. Unfortunately, the 5 experts did not fall for his trick. They're all 1,000-year-old foxes. Du Zhu could not help but mutter, Eternal slash. Suddenly, the Earth Immortal attacked again. He leaped into the air and turned into a beam of eternal immortal light. The eternal immortal light seemed to be able to shatter heaven and earth. It slashed down in an instant. Lin Feng suddenly realized that there was something different about him. The ultimate moves of this Earth Immortal were all related to the eternal Tao. It seemed that Wu Guangyuan, who set up this formation, was very good at the eternal path. He used the eternal path as the foundation to set up the formation. Therefore, the Earth Immortal he created was also good at the eternal path. Chapter 22:47. There were many types of eternal Tao. There were powerful eternal Taos and weak eternal Taos. The Grand Eternity Technique was the general outline of all eternal Tao. If one learned the Grand Eternity Technique, they could deduce all kinds of eternal Tao. Among the 3,000 great Taos, the Grand Eternity Technique was ranked 7th. The 3,000 great Taos were quite heaven-defying. There might be many people who knew eternal Tao, but those who knew the Grand Eternity Technique could be counted on one hand. Lin Feng didn't know if Wu Guangyuan had cultivated the Grand Eternity Technique. However, even if Wu Guangyuan didn't know the Grand Eternity Technique, the eternal Tao he cultivated must be extremely powerful. Otherwise, the eternal Tao wouldn't be the foundation of such a powerful formation. Facing the attack of the eternal light formed by the Earth Immortal, Lin Feng continued to control the 5 dragon wheel to launch a fierce counterattack. Lin Feng now had a divine ability that allowed him to transform into a myriad of forms. He could break it with a single blow. Under Lin Feng's control, the 5 dragon wheel released waves of destructive energy. A powerful light beam swept out again. This light beam blasted toward the eternal light formed by the Earth Immortal. Clang! The two sides collided violently in the void. The light beam from the 5 dragon wheel dissipated. The Earth Immortal also changed from the eternal light form to his true form. Lowly ant, you've successfully angered an immortal. The Earth Immortal looked coldly at Lin Feng. Lin Feng was speechless. He couldn't help but curse. Do you really think you're an immortal? You're just a condensation of the formation. Wake up now. Stop daydreaming that you're an immortal. Lowly ant, you dare to blaspheme the dignity of an immortal. You'll pay with your life. The Earth Immortal looked coldly at Lin Feng. Poison Ancestor said, in this guy's mind, he might really think that he's an immortal and not someone who was created. That's too sad. Evil Sovereign Saint said, yes, the saddest thing in this world is not even knowing who you are. All of you ants deserve to die. Hearing Lin Feng and the other two discussing him, the Earth Immortal flew into a rage. Just as Du Zhu had said, this Earth Immortal might really think that he was an immortal and not someone who had created him. It was because of this that this Earth Immortal was so arrogant. Boom! A terrifying aura permeated the air. The Earthen Immortal stepped forward in mid-air. I am the embodiment of eternity. I will become the eternal divine sun, illuminating every corner of the world and expelling the darkness. Evil will have nowhere to hide. The Earth Immortal's deep voice resounded throughout the area. F***CK, don't you have any shame? Have we become evil? After hearing what the Earthen Immortal was chanting, Lin Feng could not help but feel speechless. Shameless people are invincible in this world. Rumble. A loud rumbling sound reverberated through the world. At this moment, the body of the earthly immortal began to change. His body was emitting boundless immortal light. The immortal light covered the sky and the sun. It surged in all directions. It shone for eternity. Clouds moved in all directions. Billions of lives were destroyed. All of a sudden, the Earth Immortal's body disappeared. What replaced it was a divine sun. The immortal light also disappeared. The light from the divine sun turned into eternal light. Rumble. The divine sun flew in the sky, crushing the void. Crack, crack. Wherever the divine sun passed, the void split open. Such power was truly shocking to the extreme. The huge divine sun headed straight for Lin Feng and the other two. They felt a sense of oppression that they had never felt before. Transforming into a divine sun should be the Earth Immortal's ultimate technique. Lin Feng and the other two did not dare to be careless. Activate the 5-dragon wheel with me, Lin Feng shouted. Du Zhu and the evil Dominator Saint did not dare to hesitate. The two of them and Lin Feng activated the 5-dragon wheel together. Powerful magic power surged into the wheel, causing it to fluctuate more and more violently. Roar! A loud dragon roar came from the 5-dragon wheel again. The dense runes seemed to have awakened and kept twisting. The most shocking thing was that a dragon-shaped shadow appeared in the 5-dragon wheel. The dragon-shaped shadow circled outside the 5-dragon wheel and kept moving. The 5-dragon wheel quickly slashed towards the divine sun that was suppressing it. Puff! A tearing sound was heard. The 5-dragon wheel unleashed its might and split the divine sun into 2 halves. This immortal was killed. How is this possible? The divine sun turned into an immortal. However, this immortal had already been split into 2 halves. Then, the immortal disappeared. The array also gradually dissipated. The 5 experts who were hiding in the array all revealed themselves. Now, the 5 experts' faces were pale. They could not believe what had just happened. Such a powerful immortal had actually been slain. Immortal weapon. He has an immortal weapon. Du Shao cried out in horror. The Taishang immortal sect had immortal weapons. He had seen immortal weapons before. Therefore, he had some understanding of immortal weapons. He felt the aura of an immortal weapon from the 5-dragon wheel. Run, 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 run. The 5 experts shouted in horror. The fact that Lin Feng had an immortal weapon was too shocking. They no longer had the courage to fight against Lin Feng, unless they also had an immortal weapon. Otherwise, they would not be able to fight against Lin Feng. The 5 powerhouses shot off in 5 different directions. They were smart. They knew that if they ran together, they would be killed in one fell swoop. If they ran separately, they might be able to escape. Do you think you can escape? Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as he activated the immortal weapon. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The immortal weapon shot out 4 terrifying beams of light at Su Zhongtian, Du Guxiao, Wu Guangyuan, and Zhang Zhiyao. The 4's expressions changed drastically. They quickly took out all kinds of defensive magic treasures to block the attacks. However, it was useless. The magic treasures they took out were instantly destroyed by the 5 dragon wheel. Then, the 5 dragon wheel's attacks landed on their bodies. Bang, 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 bang. For dull sounds of collisions were heard. The 4 experts' bodies exploded, their bodies and souls destroyed on the spot. The immortal weapon was indeed an immortal weapon. It was so powerful that even they could not resist it. Go and take their storage rings, Lin Feng said. Then, he quickly chased after Su Miaoqing. Su Miaoqing's face was as pale as paper when she saw the other 4 experts killed. Lin Feng, are you really going to kill us all? Su Miaoqing asked with a pale face. Lin Feng smiled and said, if I wanted to kill you, do you think you would still be alive? What do you want in order to let me go? Su Miaoqing asked. Let you go? Lin Feng sneered. Do you think that's possible? I'm very interested in keeping a peerless beauty like you as my slave. Chapter 22:48. After hearing Lin Feng's words, Su Miaoqing's expression turned even uglier. She knew very well what would happen to her if she fell into Lin Feng's hands. Naturally, it was impossible for Su Miaoqing to become a slave obediently. Who was Su Miaoqing? She was a goddess. She was a fairy on the beauty chart. She had countless admirers in the 9 provinces. Her fiancé was one of the top 10 monstrous geniuses in the 9 provinces, Dugu Di Tian. Su Miaoqing was also from an ancient family. With her noble status, she would become a slave? Su Miaoqing didn't even dare to think about it. I'd rather die than become a slave. Su Miaoqing gnashed her teeth. That's not up to you. Lin Feng chuckled and quickly chased after Su Miaoqing. After Du Zhu and the heretic dominator Saint collected the dead expert storage rings, the heretic dominator Saint quickly rushed over. The evil dominator Saint hurriedly said, let's hurry up and chase after them, and help Master kill that woman. What's there to chase? The young master clearly doesn't want to kill that woman. If it were me, I wouldn't be willing to kill that woman either. She's such a beautiful woman. Du Zhu curled his lips and said, let's wait for a while and let the young master deal with it himself. The heretic dominator Saint nodded after hearing Du Zhu's words. Su Miaoqing's speed was far from Lin Feng's. Even though she took out a powerful flying treasure, she still couldn't shake off Lin Feng. Lin Feng was simply too fast, so fast that Su Miaoqing felt despair. Lin Feng, everything in this world can be negotiated. Am I right? Su Miaoqing said. Lin Feng said, you're right. Everything in this world can be negotiated. Su Miaoqing said, then we can negotiate too. Lin Feng smiled and said, sure. I won't let you become my slave, but you have to stay by my side for 3 months. During these 3 months, you will become my concubine. In your dreams, Su Miaoqing flatly refused. If she became Lin Feng's concubine, how was she going to face others in the future? If Dugu Di Tian found out, would Dugu Di Tian want Lin Feng's used shoes? Since you don't know what's good for you, then there's nothing to talk about between us. Lin Feng sneered. Su Miaoqing bit her lips and continued to control her flying-type magic treasure to fly forward. Soon, Su Miaoqing saw a huge abyss. Su Miaoqing and the others had seen this abyss when they were looking for a place to set up the array. There were many terrifying ice beasts in this abyss. Su Miaoqing flew here to lure Lin Feng into the giant frost beast lair. When the time came, she would create chaos and deliberately anger those giant ice beasts. When the time came, he would be able to withdraw and leave. It had to be said. Su Miaoqing's plan was perfect. Thwoosh! Su Miaoqing quickly flew towards the abyss. There was a thick layer of ice on both sides of the abyss, and the abyss was very deep. From time to time, fierce cold winds would blow from the bottom of the abyss. It was as if the void was about to be frozen. The cold wind blowing from the abyss was very terrifying. Ordinary God Realm experts would be blown by this cold wind. They might freeze to death here. After flying for more than 10,000 meters, they still hadn't reached the bottom of the abyss. This ice abyss was really deep, They flew down again for another 5,000 meters. Finally, Su Miaoqing and Lin Feng reached the bottom of the ice abyss one after another. The bottom of the ice abyss stretched out for dozens of miles. After reaching the bottom, Su Miaoqing flew deeper into the abyss. Lin Feng chased after him, unwilling to give up. Su Miaoqing, no matter how you struggle, you won't be able to escape. You are destined to become my slave. This is an unchangeable fact. Of course, I don't have any violent tendencies, so even if you become my slave, I won't abuse you. Lin Feng said with a faint smile. If you want me to become your slave, wait until your next life. Su Miaoqing said coldly. She sped up. Finally, Su Miaoqing saw a group of ice beasts. These ice beasts looked very similar to earth dragons. The scales on the surface of their bodies were the same color as the ice. After seeing those ice beasts, Su Miaoqing directly threw a few jade talismans at them. Rumble, the jade talismans exploded. The ice beasts were extremely powerful and were not injured at all. But Su Miaoqing threw the jade talismans at the ice beasts, which was equivalent to provoking these ice beasts. Therefore, the group of giant ice beasts roared furiously. Then, the ice beasts pounced on Lin Feng and Su Miaoqing. The two were immediately separated by the ice beasts. Su Miaoqing's face was pale as she dodged the attacks of the ice beasts. But there were too many ice beasts. There were more than 2,000 of them here. All kinds of attacks came one after another. Bang! A giant ice beast slapped Su Miaoqing with its claw and sent her flying. Su Miaoqing coughed out a mouthful of blood. Then, another ice beast rushed over and opened its bloody mouth, wanting to swallow Su Miaoqing in one bite. Swoosh! Su Miaoqing's pretty face changed abruptly. She quickly moved to the left and narrowly avoided the giant ice beast's attack. But more ice beasts pounced on her, which made Su Miaoqing's heart heavy. Su Miaoqing gritted her teeth. She took out a jade talisman and activated it. Swish! A divine light gushed out from the jade talisman and wrapped around Su Miaoqing. Then the jade talisman cracked. That jade talisman could only be used once. When the ice beasts flew towards Su Miaoqing, their bodies exploded the moment they touched the divine light that wrapped around Su Miaoqing's body. The power of that divine light was too strong. Many ice beasts quickly retreated, not daring to get close to Su Miaoqing. And Su Miaoqing rushed to the distance. Those ice beasts gave up on Su Miaoqing and pounced on Lin Feng. Lin Feng held the Vajra Wolf Fang mace and smashed out again and again. Any ice beast that was hit by the Vajra Wolf Fang mace was smashed to death. The Vajra Wolf Fang mace was a treasure that was suitable for extremely powerful cultivators. It could be used with the most violent power to destroy everything. Those ice beasts were immediately frightened by Lin Feng and quickly retreated, making way for Lin Feng. Lin Feng chased after Su Miaoqing as fast as lightning. You can't escape. He sneered and smashed the Vajra Wolf Fang mace at Su Miaoqing. With Lin Feng's current strength and the Vajra Wolf Fang mace, even a peaked giant God Realm powerhouse would be smashed to death by him. Bang bang bang. 3 consecutive attacks were launched. The energy that wrapped around Su Miaoqing was smashed away by Lin Feng. Su Miaoqing's magic power was scattered, and her body fell down. Seeing this, Lin Feng quickly flew over and grabbed Su Miaoqing's waist. Let go of me. Su Miaoqing's beautiful face turned pale. Chapter 2249. What? Are you afraid now? Lin Feng sneered at Su Miaoqing. This woman who looked like a goddess on the outside, but was actually a scheming woman on the inside, had finally fallen into his hands. Do you only know how to bully a little girl like me? What kind of man are you? Su Miaoqing snorted. What the hell? How can someone like you be called a little girl? Many men aren't as black-hearted as you. Please don't insult the word little girl. All right? Lin Feng couldn't help but roll his eyes. Su Miaoqing gritted her teeth, but she still put on a pitiful expression and said, I was wrong in the past. I can guarantee that I won't cause trouble for you in the future. I can give you endless wealth, and I can even persuade Dugu Di Tian not to make an enemy out of you. I'm sure you know what kind of power the Su clan is. It's better to have one more friend than one more enemy, right? Lin Feng said indifferently, Su Zhongtian has already died at my hands. The hatred has already been sown. What's the point of saying all this now? Su Miaoqing was delighted when she saw that Lin Feng's tone seemed to have softened. She hurriedly said, "As long as I deal with them, the Su clan won't make things difficult for you. Don't worry about that. I'm still confident in myself." Lin Feng said indifferently, "Is that so? But why don't I believe you? I've always wanted to take you as a slave. Since the hatred between the Su clan and me has already been sown, I have nothing to worry about." When Lin Feng finished talking, he raised his right hand. Purification power swirled around Lin Feng's fingertip. Su Miaoqing was very knowledgeable, so she immediately recognized the purification power. Her pretty face couldn't help but turn ugly. Lin Feng tapped Su Miaoqing's forehead lightly, and the purification power entered her mind. It then quickly flew towards Su Miaoqing's soul. When Lin Feng found Su Miaoqing's soul, he frowned. This was because Su Miaoqing's soul was hidden in a small golden bell. This small golden bell was Su Miaoqing's natal magic treasure. Su Miaoqing had placed it in her mind to protect her soul. This was what Lin Feng was thinking. Lin Feng placed his natal treasure, the primal chaos ancient lamp, in his mind. Its purpose was to protect one's soul. If one's physical body died, one could even possess another body and be reborn. However, if one's soul died, death's soul would be beyond redemption. The purification power that surged into Su Miaoqing's mind was blocked by the small golden bell. Su Miaoqing's natal treasure was very special, but it was Su Miaoqing's soul. "You're not bad." Lin Feng glanced at Su Miaoqing indifferently. Su Miaoqing said, "I have this little golden bell protecting my soul. You won't be able to refine me. Why don't we talk about the terms of our reconciliation?" Lin Feng said, "Do you really think I can't break your golden spiritual bell? You are gravely mistaken. Of course, I have a way to break your golden spiritual bell. However, I have some urgent matters to attend to, so I won't waste any more time. As for you, I will first suppress you for a period of time. Once I have the time, I will break your golden spiritual bell and convert you into my slave." Lin Feng took out the 4 ferocious cauldrons. Then, he threw Su Miaoqing into the cauldrons to suppress her. "Lin Feng, you can't do this to me. Lin Feng, we can talk about conditions. You can name any conditions you want." Su Miaoqing shouted. Lin Feng said indifferently, "I'm not interested in talking about conditions with you." Lin Feng then kept the cauldrons in his mountain river ring. Lin Feng did not stay any longer and flew upward. He flew for more than 1,000 meters. Lin Feng saw that there was a huge crack on the ice wall. Inside the crack, there was an astonishing fluctuation that was being emitted. Lin Feng was shocked. He looked inside the crack. His expression changed slightly. There was a man sitting cross-legged inside the crack. The man had a tall and sturdy body, like a god of war. He did not deliberately release his aura. That kind of qi came out naturally, but even if it was just a natural qi, Lin Feng still felt a chill run down his spine. It was hard to imagine how terrifying this cultivator's cultivation was. "He doesn't look like a living person," the demon lord said. "Could it be a corpse?" Lin Feng muttered. He carefully flew toward the crack. However, when Lin Feng approached the crack, a terrifying pressure enveloped his body. Crack, crack. That oppressive strength was too strong. Lin Feng's physical body started cracking. He was astonished. Lin Feng tried to release his epic aura to dissolve the pressure, but it was useless. The epic aura was dispersed by the pressure emitted from the man's body. Lin Feng's heart was filled with shock. How powerful was this mysterious man's cultivation to be able to release such a terrifying pressure? "Senior, this junior did not mean to offend you. Please forgive this junior's rash behavior," Lin Feng hurriedly said. As soon as Lin Feng finished speaking, the terrifying pressure on him dissipated. "Thank you, Senior." Lin Feng thanked the man and quickly left. "Demon Lord, is that really a corpse?" said Lin Feng. His heart was pounding. How powerful was that mysterious man? It was hard to imagine. The Demon Lord said, "I can't be sure whether it's a corpse or not. It's too strange." Lin Feng put away the fear in his heart and said, "There are always some unknown and terrifying existences in this world." He didn't stop and quickly left the huge glacial abyss. Then, he met up with Duzu and the evil Dominator Holy outside. The poison ancestor grinned and said, Did that woman run away? Lin Feng said, No, she's been sealed in the 4 vicious cauldrons. Duzu said, Young master, are you trying to keep a mistress in a golden house? Keep a mistress, my ass. At most, she's just a slave. All right, let's not waste any more time. Let's go to the Snow Tribe. I wonder how they are doing. Lin Feng said. If not for the Snow Tribe's crisis, Lin Feng would not have been in the mood. Otherwise, he would not have minded taking his relationship with Su Miaoqing a step further. Du Zhu and the evil dominator wholly nodded and quickly flew to the depths of the Arctic tundra with Lin Feng. Half a month later, Snow City finally appeared in Lin Feng's sight. We're here, Lin Feng said. The Snow Tribe has many beauties. I wonder how many of them are your old lovers, young master? That's why you're in such a hurry to come here. The poison ancestor asked with a grin. Chapter 2250. Of course, Du Zhu was a scoundrel. However, Du Zhu's guess was not completely wrong. Lin Feng said calmly, I do have one close female friend. Just one person? Du Zhu laughed mischievously. Lin Feng said, Of course. At least for now. Ha 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 ha. It seems like there's a new target. Du Zhu grinned. How about you introduce me to a few? Lin Feng laughed. Don't even think about it. If you have any bad ideas, don't think about those big sisters of the Snow Clan. Du Zhu said. I'm just kidding. The 3 of them continued flying forward. When they got close to the Snow Clan, Lin Feng saw that the Snow Clan's restrictions had been fully activated. Outside the Snow Clan's territory, there were many cultivator armies. These cultivator armies were probably from the Ice Clan. The Snow Clan has been surrounded. The ground in front of the city is blood red. It seems like there have been many fierce battles here. Du Zhu said. Lin Feng nodded. Fortunately, the Snow Clan's territory has not been breached yet. Are we going to barge in now? Du Zhu asked. That's right. Let's barge in, Lin Feng said. Whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng soared into the sky and flew toward the depths of the Snow Clan. Not long after, the 3 of them arrived at the place where the Ice Clan's cultivators were stationed. Someone is trespassing. Kill them. The Ice Clan's cultivator army immediately shouted when Lin Feng and the other 2 were discovered. Kill them. A dense army of cultivators appeared. They waved their spears and swept them toward Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the evil dominator sage. The cultivator army attacked together, gathering their essence, qi, and spirit. The combat power that erupted from them was incomparably terrifying. After all, ants could bite an elephant to death if there were too many of them. In the face of the overwhelming attacks, Lin Feng did not fight them head-on. Instead, he took out the purple gold heavenly ball. This pseudo-emperor-level magic treasure protected Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretic dominator saint as they quickly flew towards the depths. Bang 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 bang. All kinds of attacks came at him. These attacks bombarded the defensive light shield formed by the purple gold heavenly ball. Sounds of violent collisions could be heard. Fortunately, the purple gold heavenly sphere's defensive power was strong enough to block the cultivator army's attacks. Soon, Lin Feng and the other 2 arrived at the bottom of the city wall. Open the restriction and let us in. Lin Feng shouted in a deep voice. Who are you? One of the cultivators guarding the city asked. Master, it's Master. In the distance, a ferocious beast roared excitedly. The other 3 ferocious beasts also quickly flew over. These 4 ferocious beasts were the dark subduing devil beast, the single-horned fierce god tiger, the silverback crimson armored beast, and the flaming 3-tailed demonic wolf. They were previously subdued by Lin Feng. When Lin Feng left Snow City, he left the 4 ferocious beast overlords behind to guard the city. The 4 ferocious beast overlords were powerful and were entrusted with important positions in Snow City. That young master is the master of the 4 ferocious beasts? Many people were shocked beyond words. The 4 ferocious beast overlords were high and mighty figures in the eyes of many people. Such powerful figures were actually the servants of someone else? What are you waiting for? Open the restriction. The 4 ferocious beast overlords roared at the same time. The spirit formation masters guarding the city wall quickly opened the restriction and let Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretic dominator saint into the city. Greetings, master. The four ferocious beast overlords all bowed to Lin Feng. They could have transformed into human form long ago, but they had never done so. Many ferocious beasts still preferred to maintain the appearance of their own race even after they had cultivated their cultivation. It was as if we wanted humans to live as leopards, tigers, or lions. Were they not used to it? Not only were they not used to it, but they would also resist it. The ferocious beasts were the same. You may rise. Lin Feng waved his hand. Bring me to see Shuezime, Shuezihua, and the others. Lin Feng said. Yes, master, please follow us. The four ferocious beast overlords hurriedly said and led the way. After the group of people left, many people started talking about Lin Feng. Who was he? Along the way, Lin Feng learned about many things that had happened in recent years. The Snow Clan had gradually recovered under the leadership of Shuezihua and the others. The Snow Clan had also recruited many experts and formed their own cultivator army. Originally, the Ice Clan did not dare to provoke the Snow Clan. However, just as the Snow Clan's revival was in sight, two things happened. The first was the betrayal of the Snow Clan's Grand Elder, Xue Qianwu. Xue Qianwu was the sister of the previous clan leader. Xue Qianwu originally thought that after her sister died, she would inherit the position of clan leader. However, Xue Qianwu did not expect that the position of clan leader would be inherited by Shuezihua. At that time, Shuezihua was still very young and was only the adopted daughter of her sister. Xue Qianwu was naturally not convinced. Lin Feng had interacted with Xue Qianwu a few times before and knew that this woman was very ambitious. This betrayal of the Snow Clan was probably because the Snow Clan was getting stronger day by day, so Xue Qianwu could not see any hope of replacing Shuezihua. Therefore, Xue Qianwu led a portion of the Snow Clan and a portion of the Cultivator Army to betray the Snow Clan. Then, she cooperated with the Ice Clan to deal with Shuezihua, Shuezime, and the others. The second thing was that a mysterious force had appeared to secretly help the Ice Clan. Moreover, the large cultivator army outside was mostly transferred by that mysterious force. As for why that mysterious force attacked the Snow Clan, no one knew. The news of Lin Feng's arrival had already been reported to Shuezihua, Shuezime, and the others. When Lin Feng arrived at the Snow Clan, Lin Feng saw Shuezihua, Shuezime, Shuezisland, Shueziju, Shueziju, Shueziling, Shuezixian, Shuexian, Shuefei, and the others all came out to welcome him. After seeing Lin Feng, they were all very happy. Even Shuezihua could not help but feel relieved. During this period of time, she had been worried sick about the Snow Clan's future. Now that Lin Feng had arrived, she felt very relieved. For some reason, she felt a trace of relief. This was a very strange feeling. It seemed that as long as Lin Feng was here, no matter what happened, she did not need to worry. As long as Lin Feng was here, no matter what happened, it could be solved. It's good to see that everyone is fine. Later, let's talk about the various dangers that the Snow Clan encountered, Lin Feng said. The others quickly nodded and then entered the Snow Clan's territory. At the same time, Chapter 22:51. Sitting in the hall were the Snow Clan's Grand Elder Xue Qianwu, the Ice Clan's Grand Elder Bing Yulong, and 5 or 6 higher-ups of the Ice Clan, including the Ice Clan's patriarch, Bing Jingtian. However, Bing Jingtian was just a puppet of the Ice Clan. The true leader of the Ice Clan was the Grand Elder. In addition to these people, there was also a mysterious cultivator shrouded in a black robe. His appearance couldn't be seen clearly. However, the mysterious cultivator's body was emanating waves of chilling aura. That aura made everyone present feel a sense of trepidation. And this mysterious cultivator was the backer of the Ice Clan. However, even the Ice Clan's Grand Elder didn't know who this mysterious cultivator was. The only thing he knew was that he had to obey this mysterious cultivator's orders. Xue Qianwu, tell me about the Devil Pagoda, the black-robed cultivator suddenly said. Xue Qianwu was slightly stunned. The Devil Pagoda was the Snow Clan's secret. It had been suppressed by the Snow Clan for many years. Now, the Snow Clan's mission was to protect the suppressed Devil Pagoda. They even asked Lin Feng to help strengthen the seal of the Devil Pagoda. Very few people knew about the secret of the Snow Clan's Devil Pagoda. However, There was no such thing as an impenetrable wall in this world. It was quite normal for the news to spread. Xue Qianwu's heart couldn't help but tremble. Could it be that this black-robed cultivator's goal was the Devil Pagoda? Xue Qianwu said, "The Devil Pagoda is currently sealed. There's basically no special movement. Usually, the Devil Pagoda is guarded by 2 clan elders. People like us rarely have the chance to come into contact with the Devil Pagoda. Unless there's a change in the Devil Pagoda, or when the seal needs to be strengthened, we can only enter the space where the Devil Pagoda is located." "How many guardians are there now?" the black-robed cultivator asked. 2. Xue Qianwu answered honestly. The 2 guardians had been guarding the Devil Pagoda since Xue Qianwu could remember. They had never left. Xue Qianwu heard from the older generation cultivators. No one knew when the 2 guardians started guarding the Devil Pagoda. Now that she heard the black-robed cultivator talking about the Devil Pagoda, Xue Qianwu immediately felt that the 2 guardians might have a great background. These 2 people really have lived for a long time. The black-robed cultivator narrowed his eyes, which flickered with a sinister expression from time to time. "My lord, when will we launch the final attack on Snow City?" the great elder of the Ice Clan asked. "There's no rush." There was no rush. He still had to wait for a few more people to arrive. "Once you make a move, you must kill him in one blow," the black-robed cultivator said. The people from the ice race were very confused. Judging from the number of cultivators they had, it wouldn't be difficult for them to take down Snow City. Why was the black-robed cultivator still waiting? Only Xue Qianwu could vaguely guess the reason. After the meeting was over, the black-robed cultivator summoned the ice race's grand elder. "Xue Qianwu, keep an eye on this woman. When the city is breached, capture this woman. At that time, this woman and the rest of the ice tribe will become sacrifices. I will use their blood as a sacrifice to the demon tower," the black-robed cultivator said sinisterly. The ice clan's great elder shuddered and asked cautiously, "Master, what's the origin of the Snow Clan's demon tower?" "Humph. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Otherwise, you'll bring death upon yourself," the black-robed cultivator said coldly. Yes, this subordinate will remember," the ice race's grand elder said hurriedly, his face pale from fright. Snow Clan's meeting room. Xue Zihua told Lin Feng in detail about many things that had happened during this period. Lin Feng frowned slightly and couldn't help but ponder. Regardless of whether it was the ice race or the Snow Clan, they weren't particularly powerful forces in the 9 states. Without the support of that mysterious force, even with Xue Qianwu's help, the ice race wouldn't be a threat to the Snow Clan. Clearly, the fuse that triggered the Snow Clan's crisis wasn't the alliance between the ice race and Xue Qianwu. It was the mysterious force that had suddenly appeared. The fact that this force was able to mobilize a large number of cultivator armies meant that this force was very powerful. What was such a powerful force scheming? Moreover, there were so many cultivators in the army, but they hadn't launched an all-out attack on Snow City. The previous attacks were all probing attacks. There was no need for that at all. Unless, the mysterious force behind the ice race was waiting for an opportunity. That was why they hadn't attacked the city. The Snow Clan wasn't that powerful and didn't have any powerful treasures. Why would the mysterious force target the Snow Clan? Lin Feng couldn't figure it out. Suddenly, an idea flashed through his mind. Lin Feng thought of the mysterious demonic tower that was sealed in the Snow Clan. Could it be the mysterious force's target wasn't the Snow Clan, but the demonic tower? However, given the strength of that force, if they wanted to get the demonic tower, there was no need to delay until now. There was only one reason why they could delay until now, and that was because there was someone in the Snow Clan that they were afraid of. The other party's top experts hadn't arrived yet, so they didn't dare to make a move. Lin Feng had to admit that he had a rough idea of the entire situation. The 2 old men guarding the tower. The figures of the 2 old men appeared in Lin Feng's mind. Back then, he had gone with Xue Zimei, Xue Zihua, and the others to strengthen the demonic tower's seal. Lin Feng could still clearly remember seeing the 2 old men guarding the tower. At that time, the 2 old men gave Lin Feng an unfathomable feeling. If the Snow Clan had any experts, it would probably be those 2 old men. Lin Feng said, "I'm planning to pay a visit to the 2 old men. Would that be convenient?" Xue Zihua said. The two seniors don't usually see guests, but I can ask them for you. As soon as Shui Zihua finished speaking, an old voice rang out in Lin Feng's mind. Young friend, come over. When that voice spread in the air, Lin Feng was stupefied. The old man guarding the tower knew that he had been talking with Shui Zihua and the others in the meeting hall. How resourceful, Lin Feng said. Sister Zihua, there's no need for you to ask. The two seniors are calling for me. Shui Zihua and the others were surprised, then nodded. Lin Feng didn't ask them to come with him, so Shui Zihua and the others didn't go with him. Not long after, Lin Feng arrived at the core of the Snow Clan, outside the courtyard of the demon-suppressing tower. There was a passage leading underground, and deep underground was the mysterious space of the demon-suppressing tower. Chapter 22:53. Young friend, let's talk inside. An old voice came from the tunnel. All right. Lin Feng nodded and walked into the tunnel. After walking for a long time, Lin Feng arrived at the end of the tunnel. The tunnel was connected to the underground space of the demon tower. He entered the underground space and once again saw the demonic pagoda that was suppressed here. The demonic pagoda was chained by 9 thick chains. It was very quiet now, and there were no strange movements. 2 old men were sitting cross-legged in front of the demon tower. Lin Feng bowed to the 2 old men and said, Junior Lin Feng greets the 2 elders. It's been almost 10 years since we last met. I didn't expect you to have grown so much. You're really admirable. The old man in green clothes said. Lin Feng said modestly, Senior, you're too kind. I'm ashamed. Another gray-robed old man said, Little friend, you're too kind. With your current cultivation and some of your hidden techniques, I'm afraid there aren't many cultivators in the 9 provinces who can stop you. Thought Lin Feng. As expected, those 2 people weren't simple. They could see through his secrets in one glance. Lin Feng said, Seniors, you must have heard about the crisis the Snow Clan is facing. I think that their goal is not the Snow Clan, but the Demon Tower. The old man in green clothes said, That's right. They're here for the Demon Tower, but we can't leave. So, we asked you to come because we have a presumptuous request. What is it, Senior? Lin Feng said. The gray-robed old man said, Those people want to release the demonic pagoda, but they need something to do so. Otherwise, it's impossible to release the demonic pagoda. Oh, what do they need? Lin Feng asked curiously. The blood of the Snow Clan. The old man in gray clothes said. That's... Lin Feng frowned. If that was the case, the Snow Clan would be in great danger, said the old man in cyan clothes. Back then, the Snow Clan was extremely strong and had a great emperor. When the great emperor was old, the Demon Tower appeared and caused chaos. The great emperor of the Snow Clan sacrificed his life to cut the Demon Tower into 2 parts. The other part escaped and the remaining part has been suppressed. The Demon Tower has been cursed and said that people of the Snow Clan would use their blood to make it free. Now, a gigantic hand has appeared and it seems like it wants to release the Demon Tower. However, if it wants to release the Demon Tower, it needs a huge amount of blood as a sacrifice. The Snow Clan will face the danger of being exterminated. We want you to help us escort the members of the Snow Clan to the ancestral land of the Snow Clan. As long as we can get to the ancestral land of the Snow Clan, those people won't be able to do anything to the Snow Clan. That curse is really vicious. All right, I'll escort the Shui clan to their ancestral land, said Lin Feng. Thank you very much, young friend. This is the map to the Snow Clan's ancestral land. Take it, young friend, said the old man in cyan clothes, handing a jade tube to Lin Feng. Lin Feng took the jade tube and said, Since it's that way, there's no time to lose. I'll take my leave. All right. The 2 old men nodded. As Lin Feng was about to leave, a voice came from the Demon Tower. Young man, we haven't seen each other for many years. Why are you in such a hurry to leave? Why don't we sit down and talk? Asterisk hoo. Asterisk as the voice came out of the Demon Tower, black fog poured out of it. The black mist began to surge violently. It seemed to blot out the sun. Even the exit was sealed. Back then, when Lin Feng had helped to seal the Demon Tower, the spirit of the Demon Tower had appeared once. At that time, It had created an illusion and wanted to make Lin Feng lose himself in the illusion. Then, it would control Lin Feng's body, but at that time, the spirit of the demon tower hadn't fully recovered. Thus, the power it could display was limited. Lin Feng wasn't fooled by the demon tower's spirit. However, things were different now. Lin Feng could clearly sense how terrifying the demon tower's spirit was. It was clear that the demon tower's spirit had recovered its terrifying strength. I never thought that the seal I've been strengthening for 10 years would not only fail to suppress you, but it would also allow you to recover even more strength. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. I've been accumulating strength for so many years, and now I want to escape. Nobody can stop me. Little boy, why don't you join hands with the Snow Clan? Why don't you join hands with me and kill those two old bastards? As long as we kill them, no one can stop me from escaping. I think you should know a little about my origins. I'm a supreme demonic weapon created by the Demon Lord. Back then, the Demon Lord was an existence that surpassed the great emperors. He had collected an unimaginable amount of wealth, powerful abilities, magic treasures, and so on. As long as you cooperate with me, all these wealth, magic treasures, abilities, and everything else will be yours. The Demon Tower's spirit said. One had to admit that the Demon Tower's spirit's suggestion was too tempting. It would be difficult for anyone to refuse it. The expressions of the two old men guarding the tower also became slightly solemn. They were also worried that Lin Feng wouldn't be able to refuse such tempting conditions and cooperate with the Demon Tower's spirit. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes. Demon Lord? Which Demon Lord are you talking about? The Demon Tower's spirit sneered. What? Are you trying to get information out of me? I'm just asking you about the Demon Lord's identity, yet you're not willing to answer. You're so insincere. If I cooperate with you, won't I be tricked to death? Lin Feng sneered. That's an existence that can't be mentioned. If it weren't for some reason, do you think I would cooperate with you? The Demon Tower's spirit said. Some reason? What reason? Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. He had a feeling that the Demon Tower's spirit was implying something. It seemed to be hinting at something. However, the Demon Tower's spirit kept him in suspense. It refused to say anything. Lin Feng had the feeling that the reason behind all of this was not simple at all. Lin Feng said indifferently, If you don't want to say, then forget it. I don't really want to know. Seniors, help me stop this guy. I'll go send the Snow Clan members back to their ancestral land. As soon as he said that, Lin Feng rushed toward the exit. You think you can escape? The Demon Tower's spirit sneered. A man shrouded in darkness walked out from the churning devil energy at the exit. The man directly sent a palm strike at Lin Feng. Chapter 22:54. You want to stop me with a mere illusory body? Aren't you being a little too naive? Lin Feng said indifferently. He threw a punch at the man who walked out of the black fog. Bang! The attacks of the two sides collided, and a dull sound of collision was heard. Thump, 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 thump. Lin Feng was forced to retreat. The man who walked out of the black fog was in a much worse state than Lin Feng. He was sent flying by Lin Feng's punch. An even more powerful black fog surged out, and a strange energy escaped from the black fog. The strange energy surged into the man's body, causing his cultivation to skyrocket. The two old men's expressions turned gloomy when they saw this. They hurriedly activated their 9 thick Emperor runes to suppress the Devil Pagoda. The 9 Emperor runes were like 9 giant dragons, swaying violently in the air. Powerful Emperor's aura emanated from the runes and surged into the Devil Pagoda, suppressing it. Finally, the black fog stopped surging out of the Devil Pagoda. Demon exterminates gods. The man shouted coldly and attacked Lin Feng with an extremely powerful divine ability. Demon exterminates gods. Who can compete with it? An ancient devil condensed and pounced at Lin Feng. How powerful! It actually has its own consciousness and knows how to use divine abilities. What kind of existence is this? Lin Feng was extremely puzzled. The existence before him didn't seem to be formed by a divine ability. The Devil Pagoda's spirit's technique was too strange. It made Lin Feng's hair stand on end. He didn't know what kind of strange method the spirit of the Devil Tower had used to condense a man formed from devil chi with his own consciousness. Facing the demon exterminates God's attack, Lin Feng directly used the divine ability, Stoneman Gazing Sea of Clouds. This divine ability was exceptionally powerful. When it collided with the man's demon exterminates God's attack, the man's divine ability shattered. Then, the attack landed on the man's body. Bang! A violent explosion was heard. The man's body, which was formed by devil chi, exploded. But before Lin Feng could let out a sigh of relief, a voice rang out. Something terrifying happened again. After the man's body exploded, it quickly reassembled. Damn, what's going on? Lin Feng couldn't help but exclaim. The demon pagoda's gloomy voice rang out, Brat, stop your pointless struggle. No matter how great your methods are, you won't be able to leave this place. Right now, you must be filled with doubts as to whether there is some sort of relationship between you and me, right? To tell you the truth, there is some fate between you and me, so I don't want to kill you. If you cooperate with me, I can tell you a lot of things, including the Devil Lord. I can also tell you and solve all the doubts in your heart. What fate do you have with me? Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. The demon pagoda's spirit said, I can't tell you this yet. When I get out, you'll be able to know everything you want to know. The demon pagoda's spirit was constantly tempting Lin Feng, wanting to make Lin Feng cooperate with it. In fact, Lin Feng believed some of the demon pagoda's words. For example, there might be some inexplicable connection between him and the demon pagoda's spirit. But so what if there was a connection? Lin Feng definitely wouldn't cooperate with the demon pagoda's spirit. Once it got out, it would probably cause great suffering. Moreover, if the demon pagoda's spirit wanted to get out, it would need the blood of the Snow Clan. How could Lin Feng just stand by and watch the Snow Clan's people get killed? Boom! He took the initiative to attack the man formed by devil chi. Since you don't know what's good for you, then die here. Kill him. The demon pagoda's cold voice rang out. The man formed by devil chi didn't dare to hesitate after receiving the demon pagoda's order. He immediately launched the most violent attack on Lin Feng. Devil Kingdom in the palm. A Devil Kingdom appeared in the man's right hand. The Devil Kingdom quickly expanded and enveloped Lin Feng, instantly swallowing Lin Feng. Lin Feng was sealed in the Devil Kingdom in the palm. The man coldly shouted, Explode! Bang! 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 The Devil Kingdom in the palm exploded. Waves of destructive power surged out. The man clearly wanted to kill Lin Feng in the Devil Kingdom in the palm. Whoosh! But at that moment, Lin Feng rushed out of the Devil Kingdom in the palm. Lin Feng's body was protected by the purple gold globe, so he didn't suffer any damage from the Devil Kingdom in the palm. After rushing out, Lin Feng sent a palm strike toward the man. His palm was surrounded by the power of karma. This was the supreme Tao of Buddhism, capable of suppressing ghosts and demons. Lin Feng's divine ability was perfectly capable of suppressing the man formed by devil chi. Bang! The punch landed on the man's body. The power of karma surged into his body. The man let out a shrill cry. His body exploded again under the effect of the power of karma. His body failed to reconstruct itself. Lin Feng couldn't help but smile. He had finally gotten rid of this strange existence. He didn't stop and quickly rushed out. The spirit of the Devil Pagoda bellowed, Kid, going against me won't end well. You are currently on the wrong path. In the end, you will die a miserable death. Lin Feng sneered. Let's see who will die a miserable death then. Young friend, we'll leave the Snow Clan to you. The two old men said. Don't worry, I'll do my best. After saying that, Lin Feng rushed out. Soon, Lin Feng returned to the surface and saw Xue Zihua, Xue Zimei, and the others. Did you see the two seniors? Xue Zihua asked. Lin Feng nodded. I saw them, but there's something urgent I must do. What is it? Xue Zihua asked. According to the two seniors, we must move the Snow Clan members to the ancestral land, Lin Feng said. Move them to the ancestral land? Are we giving up on Snow City? Xue Zihua's expression flickered. Many of the Snow Clan's members were related to the Snow Clan, and some of them even married into the Snow Clan. There were also many cultivators who had joined the Snow Clan. If they gave up on Snow City, they might all die here. Shui Zihua didn't want to go that far. Lin Feng said, "We're not giving up on Snow City. The people hiding in the dark want to use the Snow Clan's blood to build the Demon Pagoda, then release it. If you leave now, it won't be easy for them to do so. Once you reach the ancestral land, I'll return to Snow City and fight alongside the cultivators. I won't let so many innocent people die." When they heard Lin Feng's words, the Snow Clan's members were shocked. Shui Zihua, Shui Zimei, Shui Xilan, Shui Ziju, Shui Ziju, Shui Xiling, Shui Zixian, Shui Xian, Shui Fei, and the others felt their hearts soften. They all had the same feeling. It was great to have Lin Feng by their side. They finally had someone they could rely on. Chapter 22:55. There weren't many people in the Snow Clan. There were men and women, young and old. Altogether, there were only 30,000 people. Lin Feng told Shui Zihua and the others to gather the members of the Snow Clan and get on the Xian Yuan ship. Lin Feng rarely put people into his mountain river ring. First, it was because the ring was a small world of its own. This was Lin Feng's secret. The fewer people who knew about it, the better. Second, the mountain river ring itself was a broken small world. It contained a terrifying space-time power. The internal space of the mountain river ring was not stable. If the cultivators were to run around in the mountain river ring, it was very likely that they would die very miserably. Third, Lin Feng kept all his treasures in the mountain river ring. Naturally, he couldn't put people inside casually. Fourth, if there was a big battle, the mountain river ring would be damaged. The space inside the mountain river ring wasn't stable. If it was damaged, the inside of the mountain river ring would collapse. A terrifying destructive force would erupt. At that time, many people would die in the mountain river ring. Therefore, Lin Feng wouldn't put people in the mountain river ring. Bibi and Dragon Rabbit were in the mountain river ring. Lin Feng wasn't worried. They were powerful and wouldn't be in danger. When he put little Ming Ming in the mountain river ring, Lin Feng was very worried about her safety. He especially told Bibi and Dragon Rabbit to take good care of her. Now, the Snow Clan had boarded Lin Feng's Xinyuan ancient ship. His Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship was very powerful and had an amazing defensive power. Moreover, its attack power was very strong. Therefore, it was safer to leave on the ancient ship. Of course, not everyone in the Snow Clan left. Some people had to stay behind to take care of the city. More than 10 elders of the Snow Clan chose to stay and lead the cultivator army of Snow City to resist the attack of the Ice Clan. Rumble, the ancient starship Xinyuan soared into the sky and quickly flew outside. When the Ice Race's cultivator army that surrounded Snow City, most of them were cultivator armies dispatched by the black-robed men, but in order to hide their identities, they were all incorporated into the Ice Race's cultivator army, discovered that the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship was about to leave and immediately began to attack it. Boom, boom, boom. Overwhelming attacks bombarded the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship. However, the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship was powerful enough. Therefore, the defensive restrictions created by the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship could not be broken by the cultivator army. The ancient starry sky ship Xinyuan successfully broke through the encirclement of the army and quickly flew in the direction of the Snow Clan's ancestral land. The ancestral land of a force was often the last secret of the force. Unless it was absolutely necessary, the ancestral land would not be easily opened. Once the ancestral land was exposed and found, this force might really disappear from the world. The ancient starship Xinyuan jumped through the void. He quickly headed towards the ancestral land of the Snow Clan. 3 days later, a terrifying demonic light tore through the void. The demonic light ruthlessly bombarded the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship Xinyuan. Bang! Along with the dull sound of the collision, there was a loud sound. The Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship was blasted out of the parallel space by the demonic light. "You can't escape." A cold voice rang out. The surrounding black fog rolled and covered the sky. The one who spoke was a black-robed man. The black-robed man held a pitch-black demonic pagoda in his hand. Lin Feng's eyes twitched when he saw the demonic pagoda. The demonic pagoda's shape and runes were exactly the same as the demonic pagoda suppressed by Snow City. Clearly, The demonic pagoda in the black-robed man's hand was an imitation of the mysterious demonic pagoda. However, even though it was just a replica, it was still extremely terrifying. It emitted a heart-palpitating fluctuation. Waves of destructive power surged out, distorting the void around the demonic pagoda. The Snow Clan members became worried when the Xianyuan Ancient Starship, Xianyuan Ancient Starry Sky Ship, was intercepted. Shuezihua, Shuezime, and the others hurriedly tried to calm them down. Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretic sovereign saint walked out of the cabin and onto the deck. Are you the one who wants to release the demonic pagoda? Lin Feng glanced at the black-robed cultivator indifferently. This person was clearly an expert of the demonic path. There were many branches of the demonic path in the 9 provinces. There were many powerful factions, and some of them were more high-profile and famous. However, there were also many demonic factions that kept a low profile, but they were even more powerful. Many demonic factions like to make a fortune in silence. The black-robed cultivator glanced at Lin Feng and said, "Who are you? How dare you interfere with the Snow Clan's affairs? Who gave you the guts? Don't you know that you're courting death? I'll give you a chance to hand over the Snow Clan members and scram as far as you can. You might still be able to keep your life. Otherwise, you'll die without a grave. Do you believe me?" The black-robed cultivator was extremely arrogant and didn't place Lin Feng's group in his eyes at all. "Who do you think you are? How dare you make such a big fuss in front of this young master?" Lin Feng crossed his hands behind his back. The black-robed cultivator was arrogant, but he was even more arrogant. "I'll give you a chance as well. Kneel on the ground and repent for your ignorance and stupidity, and I'll spare your life." The black-robed cultivator sneered after hearing Lin Feng's words. "Someone actually dares to say such things to me? Perhaps it's been too long, and no one knows the name of the 5 devils of Tsangming Mountain anymore." The black-robed cultivator said sinisterly, "The 5 devils of Tsangming Mountain? I've never heard of them." Lin Feng couldn't help but pout. The black-robed cultivator said, "In the vast and boundless devil realm, Dark Abyss Mountain is extremely famous. During the chaotic ancient era, the Devil Realm's passageway opened wide, and a large number of Devil Realm cultivators poured into the myriad worlds, causing a reign of terror. The Ancient Chaos Era? A great era that ended 30 million years ago. Are you from the Ancient Chaos Era?" Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. If he was really from the Ancient Chaos Era, then he'd lived for too long. This guy seemed to be from the Devil Race? The Devil Race had a much longer lifespan than humans. If he was from the Devil Race, it wasn't impossible for him to have lived for so long. The black-robed cultivator said proudly, "What? Are you afraid now that you know who I am?" "Afraid my ass. This is the late Antiquity Era, not the Ancient Chaos Era. It's no longer your era. Why aren't you hiding in a corner and struggling at death's door? You're courting death," Lin Feng said disdainfully. The black-robed cultivator's expression turned gloomy. After being humiliated by Lin Feng again and again, he wanted nothing more than to cut Lin Feng into 1,000 pieces. However, he didn't act rashly. The long period of being sealed had caused his cultivation to drop drastically. He was still waiting for the other 4 devils to arrive. Chapter 22:56. He's blocking our way, yet he's still shooting his mouth off. This guy is clearly stalling for time, Du Zhu said in a solemn voice. Lin Feng also noticed this and nodded. Then, he waved his right hand and shouted, "Fire!" Rumble. The giant spirit stone cannonball stretched out and aimed at the black-robed cultivator. Boom, boom, boom. The giant spirit stone cannonballs shot out one after another. These giant spirit stone cannonballs were so powerful that they locked onto the black-robed cultivator. Petty tricks. The black-robed cultivator sneered and urged the imitation devil pagoda. Swish, swish, swish. The replica devil pagoda swept out one devil light after another, and those devil light bombarded the giant spirit stone cannonball. All the giant spirit stone cannonballs exploded, but they couldn't hurt this person at all. The black-robed cultivator couldn't help but reveal a smug expression. However, just as this smug expression appeared, he suddenly felt a shadow rushing towards him. He saw the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship ramming towards him at lightning speed. The Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship was so huge that it was like a moving mountain in the air. The impact was simply unimaginably terrifying. The black-robed cultivator wanted to dodge, but it was too late. Bang! Along with a dull collision sound, the black-robed cultivator's body was sent flying by the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship. Wah! The black-robed cultivator felt as if he had been struck by lightning and couldn't help but vomit blood. Kill him! Lin Feng shouted. The 9 demons picture flew out and rushed towards the black-robed cultivator. Du Zhu and Heretic Sovereign Sage didn't bring out their treasures. Instead, they urged the 9 demons picture together with Lin Feng to attack the black-robed cultivator. Boom boom boom. The Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship's giant spirit stone cannonballs also shot out a dense number of spirit stone cannonballs. They bombarded the black-robed cultivator. At the same time, the Emperor runes of the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship awakened. The Emperor runes swept towards the black-robed cultivator. The black-robed cultivator looked aghast. He hadn't expected such an unforeseen event. Facing all kinds of attacks, he hurriedly urged the Devil Imitation Tower in his hand to resist all kinds of attacks. However, although that demonic pagoda was powerful, it was only a replica. This replica couldn't completely withstand all kinds of attacks. The black-robed cultivator was sent flying. Bang! One of his arms exploded. My arm! Little bastard! You deserve to die! The black-robed cultivator roared furiously, his eyes brimming with killing intent, although his mouth was very arrogant. However, the black-robed cultivator no longer dared to fight Lin Feng and the others head-on. He hurriedly retreated, trying to distance himself from Lin Feng and the others. Leave your life. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. The 9 demons diagram, the giant spirit stone cannon, and the Emperor runes continued to bombard the black-robed cultivator. At that very moment, the black-robed cultivator was already wounded. Thus, it became even more difficult for him to block the attack. After 3 consecutive waves of attacks, the black-robed cultivator's demonic pagoda was blasted away. His injuries were even more serious than before. Lin Feng and the others wanted to unleash their might and kill the black-robed cultivator. However, they didn't expect that at this moment, several cold shouts would resound. Courting death. Following those cold shouts, Yizichen's voice fell. Immediately after, the void split open. 4 cultivators stepped forward. All 4 of them were also wearing black robes. Their auras were cold and terrifying. Their auras were much more terrifying than the first black-robed cultivator. They all stretched out their hands. A thick beam of demonic light shot out from each of their palms. The thick beams of demonic light pierced through the void, their power unbelievably strong. The 9 demons diagram was blasted away, and the spirit stone cannon was destroyed one after another. The Emperor runes that the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship swept out were also scattered. Even the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship was blasted thousands of meters away. If not for the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship's powerful defensive restrictions, the attacks of these 4 black-robed cultivators would have caused unimaginable damage to the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship. The other 4 demons of Blue Underworld Mountain. Lin Feng frowned slightly. These 4 people were stronger. Naturally, it would be more difficult to deal with them. Even Lin Feng felt that it was extremely troublesome. 5th brother, are you all right? The other 4 looked at the black-robed cultivator with the severed arm. I'm fine. The black-robed cultivator with the severed arm said. Then, his severed arm regrew. It instantly recovered to its original state. Damn, that works too? Lin Feng couldn't help but be shocked. However, the methods of these demon cultivators were very strange. Therefore, it wasn't unacceptable to see this black-robed cultivator regrow his severed arm. Kid, you're quite capable. You can actually injure the 5 emperors. We don't kill nameless people. Who are you? Tell us your name, said a strong cultivator coldly looking at Lin Feng. Dragon Sect Master. Lin Feng. So you're the Dragon Sect Master of the Sea region. What does the Snow Clan's matter have to do with you? The second black-robed cultivator looked coldly at Lin Feng. It involves a lot of things. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. The third person narrowed his eyes and couldn't help but sneer. Seems like you're quite the sentimental one. What? Does the Snow Clan have your woman? It had to be said that these guys were quite intelligent. They could guess many things at once. Lin Feng glanced indifferently at the 5 demons of Blue Underworld Mountain. He didn't answer the third person's question. Instead, he asked, "What are your names?" Song Wu Xian, Song Wu Zhun, Song Wu Zong, Song Wu Jiao, Song Wu Zong. The 5 of them said one after another. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes. You haven't made a move for so long. Why did you choose to make a move now? If I'm not wrong, the strength of the 5 of you is already greatly weakened. You didn't make a move when you're strong, but when you're relatively weak. It's really puzzling. The one who had been injured earlier was called Song Wu Zong. He sneered and said, "That's because we've been trapped in the Forbidden God world for so long. If we hadn't been trapped there, how could our cultivation have declined?" Lin Feng was stunned by Song Wu Zong's words. The Forbidden God world? That mysterious world where countless experts were imprisoned. If he remembered correctly, the seal he had opened on Lightning Dragon Island was the one that connected to the Forbidden God world. He had seen the 5 Yazis charge out of the Forbidden God world. After the 5 Yazis had left, Lin Feng had hurriedly left as well. As for whether or not some terrifying creature had come out of the Forbidden God world, Lin Feng didn't know. When he heard that the 5 demons of Blue Underworld Mountain were creatures that had come out of the Forbidden God world, he was shocked. Could it be that these guys were also released by him? Chapter 22:57. When he thought of this, Lin Feng couldn't help but smile bitterly. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that he had accidentally released the 5 devils from the Forbidden God world. If that was really the case, it would be a huge mistake. Of course, Lin Feng didn't want to release the 5 devils. When he had opened the seal, he didn't know where it led to. "Did you guys come from the Lightning Dragon Sea region?" Lin Feng asked. The 5 devils were stunned. "That's right. We came from the Lightning Dragon Island." "How did you know?" When the 5 devils had appeared, Lin Feng had already left. Thus, the experts who had escaped from the Forbidden God world hadn't seen Lin Feng. Thus, they were puzzled. They didn't know how Lin Feng knew where they had come from. Lin Feng said, "I was the one who opened the seal." The 5 devils of Dark Abyss Mountain were somewhat surprised. Song Wuzong said, "I didn't think that there would be such a connection. It seems like we are fated." Song Wuxian was the leader of the 5 demons of Songming Mountain. He narrowed his eyes and said to Lin Feng, "Since we managed to escape thanks to you, we'll give you a chance to live. Hand over the members of the Snow Clan, and we'll spare your life." "Is that so?" Lin Feng's lips curled up in a cold smile. Song Wuxian said, "Something's not right. This kid is stalling for time." Attack! Songming Mountain's 5 devils' faces suddenly sank, and all of them attacked the ancient starship Xinyuan. The 5 devils were heaven-defying. If they besieged the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship, they might really be able to break through the ancient starry sky ship. Once the 5 devils broke through the Xuanyuan's defenses, the Xinyuan would be destroyed. Then, the 30,000 Snow Clan members on the Xinyuan would die tragically. Lin Feng had already thought of that when the other 4 demons of Songming Mountain had appeared. These fellows were indeed too powerful. Therefore, Lin Feng didn't have any plans to continue fighting with the 5 devils of Azure Underworld Mountain. While he was conversing with the 5 devils of Songming Mountain, he had already begun to set up a grand formation in secret. The 5 devils of Songming Mountain were too confident in themselves. They felt that no matter what little tricks Lin Feng did, it would not be able to escape their eyes. However, the reality was that the 5 devils of Azure Underworld Mountain had underestimated Lin Feng's ability. As the successor of the Celestial Master Taoism, if Lin Feng couldn't set up the Great Void Formation under the guise of the heavens, he would be able to do so. If that were the case, then he would be a failure as the successor of the Celestial Master Taoism. By the time the 5 devils of Songming Mountain realized that something was wrong, Lin Feng had already quietly set up the Great Array. The Void Array Lin Feng set up was a space-time teleportation array. He had set up 2 space-time transference grand arrays. The first space-time transference grand array enveloped the 5 devils of Blue Underworld Mountain. The second space-time transference grand array enveloped the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship. The two space-time transference grand arrays moved the five devils of Blue Underworld Mountain and the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship in opposite directions. If the five devils of Blue Underworld Mountain hadn't been too confident in themselves and didn't guard against Lin Feng, with their strength, they might have been able to discover that Lin Feng was secretly setting up a grand formation. If they had tried to stop Lin Feng at that time, Lin Feng's plan would have failed. But it was already too late. The space-time transference grand array wrapped around the five devils of Blue Underworld Mountain. Not good. The faces of the five devils of Blue Underworld Mountain turned incomparably gloomy. Shwa. In the next moment, a light flashed and the five devils of Blue Underworld Mountain were teleported out. The Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship was also teleported out. Both sides were teleported in opposite directions. The distance between the two sides was a total of 200 miles. It was such a long distance. The five devils of Blue Underworld Mountain wanted to catch up to Lin Feng and the others. 10 days later, the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship finally arrived at the Snow Clan's ancestral land. The Snow Clan's ancestral land was located in the Arctic frigid land, where the temperature was minus 99,000 degrees Celsius. Even Lin Feng was shivering from the cold here, let alone other cultivators. However, the people of the Snow Clan weren't affected. The colder the place, the more comfortable it was for the Snow Clan. The Arctic frigid land was basically a place where no one would come, because the temperature here was too cold. Even a giant God Realm expert would freeze to death if they stayed here for too long. In addition, there were many powerful fierce beasts running amok here. There were also many terrifying restrictions scattered in every corner of the Arctic frigid land. If one encountered these fierce beasts or restrictions, the slightest carelessness could lead to death. Such a dangerous place was naturally unfrequented by humans. There were 3 clan elders guarding the Snow Clan's ancestral land. Apart from them, there was no one else. These 3 clan elders were different from the 2 old men guarding the pagoda. Their strength wasn't outstanding. Lin Feng sensed that the 3 of them should be in the heavenly god realm. This kind of cultivation could only be considered average. The Snow Clan's crisis was already set in stone. Fortunately, there's a place like this that can protect our clan, so that we won't lose our heritage. One of the clan elders muttered to himself. He led the way and arranged a place for everyone to stay. Let's rest for a day before we leave. Shuezime looked at Lin Feng lovingly, biting her red lips. Lin Feng had originally wanted to return to Snow City directly, but after thinking about it, it didn't seem to be a bad idea to wait a day. In that case, it wouldn't be too late to rest for a day and return. He nodded. Shuezime's eyes were like silk, and she seemed very happy. Shuezihua noticed the change in expression between Lin Feng and Shuezime. She couldn't help but show a thoughtful expression. After arranging a place to stay, the men and women of the Snow Clan gathered together to worship their ancestors. There was a huge ancestral hall here, where the ancestors of the Snow Clan were worshipped. Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretical holiness saint had nothing to do, so they followed along. The first ancestor of the Snow Clan was a woman. She was known as the Snow Goddess. Rumor had it that she was a spirit born in the snow, and later cultivated her cultivation. The Snow Goddess's origins are extremely great. Rumor has it that she was a close friend of the Master of Gods. Du Zhu said, "Oh, there's such a thing?" Lin Feng couldn't help but rub his chin. He suddenly thought of the immortal ancient cemetery, the place where the Master of Gods was buried. In the immortal ancient era, an expert who dominated the world, the expert who created the immortal cultivation system. The word immortal didn't originally exist. The Master of Gods had created this word, and he divided the realm of immortal. He defined the cultivation system above the great emperor. This was after the fall of a Xiantian life form, the first expert to break through the shackles of the great emperor and break through to the immortal realm. There were far too many rumors about the Master of Gods. Lin Feng hadn't expected the Snow Goddess to be a close friend of the Master of Gods. Chapter 2258. We pray for the ancestors to protect the Snow Clan. Let the Snow Clan continue to exist. We pray for the ancestors to protect the Snow Clan. Let the Snow Clan continue to exist. We pray for the ancestors to protect the Snow Clan. Let the Snow Clan have new strong cultivators. Let the Snow Clan become strong again. We won't be bullied anymore. Under the leadership of the three elders, the members of the Snow Clan were praying sincerely. They hoped that the ancestors would bring them good luck, said Duzu. In the Snow Clan, the strongest cultivators are women. Maybe it has something to do with the inheritance of the Snow Clan. Lin Feng agreed. The Snow Goddess was a fairy born in the snow. She was the first person to have appeared in the Snow Clan. She was a woman. Perhaps, starting from the Snow Goddess, the destiny of the Snow Clan had been decided by the women. Actually, as time passed, the Snow Clan had started to have outstanding cultivators. Most of them were women. Of course, it didn't mean that the Snow Clan's men weren't strong. Nothing was absolute in the long history of the Snow Clan. In the long history of the Snow Clan, there had been some strong men, but they hadn't been able to dominate the Snow Clan. After the ceremony, everybody dispersed. Most of the Snow Clan's clansmen had gone back to rest during this period of time. When they arrived at the ancestral land of the Snow Clan, it was already evening. Therefore, by the time the ritual ended, the sky had already darkened. At night, Shuezime went to Lin Feng. I haven't had a chance to be alone with you. Have you been well? Asked Shuezime. Everything's fine. Lin Feng nodded. Late at night, Lin Feng faintly heard a song. In the season of flowers blooming and withering, I walked in the mountains. You appeared there. The sun shone on your resolute face. You were so handsome. You asked me what I was called. I didn't know I had a name until now. I didn't know how to answer you. I just stood there and looked at you. You called me Ashue. You held my hand as we strolled through the mountains. No matter how many years have passed, I will never forget meeting you in that empty valley after the rain, getting to know you. When the song started playing, Lin Feng woke up with a start. The song in the middle of the night reverberated in his mind. It was extremely strange. Lin Feng didn't disturb Shuezime. He got up and walked outside. Who is singing so late at night? He muttered to himself. Du Zhu and the heretical dominator saint got up after hearing the noise. They walked out of the room and into the courtyard. Can you guys hear the song? Lin Feng asked. Singing? Du Zhu and the evil dominator saint were surprised. Then, they shook their heads and said, I didn't hear any singing. Lin Feng nodded and said, Go back and sleep. Du Zhu and the evil dominator saint went back. Lin Feng stood in the middle of the courtyard, looking at lone moon. There were no stars in the surroundings, and the lonely moon seemed so cold. My name is Ashue. I met you in that empty valley after the rain. We held hands as we walked through the flowers. I asked you how long you loved me. You said forever. After Du Zhu and the evil dominator saint left, Lin Feng was alone. That singing voice sounded once again. Lin Feng followed the song out of the courtyard. Finally, he came to the ancestral hall of the Snow Clan's ancestral land. In the darkness, the moonlight shone down. A woman in snow-white clothes stood in the small square in front of the ancestral hall. Her back was to Lin Feng. She was singing. She sang that beautiful song. That song. It contained the longing and memories of her lover. When Lin Feng arrived, he saw Lin Feng. She didn't continue singing. Who are you? Lin Feng couldn't help but ask. He looked at the woman curiously. He didn't expect the woman to walk into the ancestral hall after hearing Lin Feng's voice. Lin Feng chased her all the way into the ancestral hall. The ancestral hall was filled with spirit tablets. Those spirit tablets were obviously the ancestors of the Snow Clan. Whoosh! There was a flash of light. A figure flashed into the inner hall. Lin Feng chased after her. But when he arrived, he didn't see anyone. He only saw a jade talisman. A snow-white jade talisman. When he saw the jade talisman, Lin Feng's eyes twitched violently. Martial talisman. It was actually a martial talisman. Lin Feng had collected 3 bluestone talismans before, and then he had combined the 3 talismans into one. After absorbing the power of the bluestone martial talisman, his martial soul had completed its evolution. After that, Lin Feng collected 2 more fire demon martial talismans. But there was still a fire demon martial talisman left in the starry sky world. Lin Feng hadn't been able to find the 3rd fire demon martial talisman. If he could find the third fire demon martial talisman, then Lin Feng's martial soul would be able to evolve again. What Lin Feng didn't expect was that he would see a third martial talisman here. He hurriedly picked up the martial talisman. Lin Feng's divine will entered it. A mass of information flowed into Lin Feng's mind. Snow God martial talisman. A martial talisman that accompanied the birth of the snow god. After the snow god died, the martial talisman split up. If he could find 3 snow god martial talismans, his martial soul could evolve once. And there was a certain chance of learning the snow god's supreme inheritance. Snow world collapse. Snow world. It was also one of the 3,000 great worlds. This divine ability was called Snow World Collapse. Could it be that once the divine ability was used, it could cause a great world to collapse? Thinking of this, Lin Feng felt a chill run down his spine. Wasn't this too terrifying? Could it be that this move, Snow World Collapse, was an immortal technique? Lin Feng suddenly remembered that Du Zhu had said that the snow god was the master of gods, confidant back then. Therefore, the snow god's true strength might be an immortal. If the snow god was an immortal, then the snow god's divine ability should be an immortal technique level divine ability. Lin Feng was about to leave. At this time, an old woman appeared in the main hall. "Young master, why did you come to the ancestral hall so late at night?" the old woman asked. Seeing this old woman, Lin Feng's expression suddenly froze. Who was this person? This old woman wasn't among the 3 elders of the Snow Clan. Could this be a hidden expert of the Snow Clan? When the Snow Clan entered the ancestral land, this old woman didn't appear. But now she appeared. What was her purpose? Lin Feng couldn't help but guess. His expression also became slightly serious. Because Lin Feng felt that this old woman had suddenly appeared. She must have some unspeakable secret. Chapter 2259. This junior wasn't in the mood to sleep, so I walked into the ancestral hall. "If I've offended you, please forgive me." "This junior didn't mean to," Lin Feng said. The old woman said, "I didn't mean to offend you. Perhaps it's your fortune to be able to come here and obtain the snow god talisman." Clearly, Lin Feng hadn't managed to hide the fact that he had obtained the snow god talisman from the old woman. The old woman continued, "Go back. Don't tell anyone that you saw me." "Yes, this junior will remember," Lin Feng said hurriedly. He then bowed to the old woman before leaving. After Lin Feng left, the old woman entered a room deep in the ancestral hall. There was a memorial tablet in the room. The words, Snow God Shui Yulua, were written on the tablet. Clearly, Shui Yulua was the name of the snow god. The snow god and the Lord of Gods met on a rainy afternoon. This was the origin of the name Yulua. The snow god was a spirit born in the snow, so her surname was Shui. The Lord of Gods liked to call the snow god Shui. Of course, when they met, he wasn't the Lord of Gods yet. She wasn't the snow god either. At that time, they were still very young. For love, they were filled with anticipation and longing, no matter how strong they were. There were times when they were young. There were times when they could give up everything for love. "Ancestor, your prophecy has come true. The descendant of the Lord of Gods has appeared and taken away the snow god talisman. In your prophecy, you said that if the descendant of the Lord of Gods appeared and took away the talisman, the gods would reappear in the world in the near future. They would follow the descendant of the Lord of Gods and carry the banner of resistance against the Armageddon War." The old woman muttered to herself, "Who exactly is this old woman? She's guarding the ancestral hall and doesn't allow me to tell anyone. Does the Snow Clan not know of her existence?" Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. The Snow Clan was filled with secrets. This clan was too ancient. Usually, ancient clans like them were filled with secrets. However, with the passage of time, the once powerful Snow tribe also weakened. The next day, Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the evil dominator Saint set out to return. "Be careful." Everyone sent Lin Feng off. "Don't worry, nothing will happen," Lin Feng said. He didn't stay for long, and he left with Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign Saint on the Xinyuan ancient starship. On the way back, the Xinyuan Starry Sky ancient Starry Sky ship carried the 3 of them. Therefore, The ship's speed increased a lot, and it only took them 7 days to return to the Snow City. The cultivator army still had not besieged Snow City. Lin Feng knew that the other party was definitely waiting for an opportunity. My lords, the spaceship that left has suddenly returned and entered Snow City. The great elder of the ice race came to report, this kid really doesn't know what's good for him. The 5 devils of Songming Mountain revealed cold killing intent on their faces. When had they ever been schemed against? However, he was tricked by Lin Feng. This made the 5 devils of Songming Mountain lose a lot of face, and they had endless killing intent towards Lin Feng. Now that Lin Feng had returned, the 5 of them couldn't wait to charge into Snow City and kill Lin Feng. However, the 5 of them knew that now was not the time to make a move, so they didn't act rashly. Seal off Snow City. Now only entry is allowed, no exit is allowed. Song Wuzong ordered. Yes, my lord, this little one will go and give the order now. The great elder of the ice race hurriedly said and then quickly left. Lin Feng returned to the space of the Demon Suppression Pagoda. The people of the snow race have returned to their ancestral land, he said. The 2 old men guarding the pagoda heaved a sigh of relief. Kikik, it's useless. Don't forget that some people have betrayed the snow race and are now cooperating with the ice race. Using the blood of these people to build the demon pagoda can also unlock the seal. The spirit of the demon pagoda laughed sinisterly. The spirit of the demon pagoda was very sensitive to what was happening outside. It could even be described as the back of its hand. It even knew that Xue Qianwu had led a group of snow race members and the cultivator army to betray the snow race. Thinking of Xue Qianwu and the others, Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, a powerful demonic light shot out from the demon pagoda and into the clouds. Earth-shattering waves of energy swept across the sky. Whoosh, whoosh. The demon pagoda began to madly attack the 9 thick chains that locked the pagoda. The 9 emperor runes on the chains awakened. Therefore, it attacked the chains several times. The demon pagoda couldn't break the 9 chains. Break, break, break. A loud roar could be heard. The spirit of the demon pagoda revealed itself. It was a mysterious existence shrouded in darkness. It was impossible to see what kind of existence it was. It roared at the sky again and again. The time has come. Attack. The 5 devils of Songming Mountain flew out. Woo, woo, woo. The sound of a bugle horn resounded outside.
Attack!
Attack.
Attack!
Then, a loud roar could be heard. The 5 million cultivators outside began to attack the city. City breaching ballistae, formation breaching dragon chariot, and so on. All kinds of large-scale siege weapons were used. Snow City naturally defended with all its might. Both sides engaged in a fierce battle. I'll go outside and take a look, Lin Feng shouted and rushed outside. He saw a black mass of cultivators surrounding Snow City. Young master, the enemy has too many cultivators. Moreover, there are experts like the 5 devils of Songming Mountain. I'm afraid Snow City will be breached soon, Du Zhu said in a deep voice. How many people are there in Snow City? Lin Feng asked. About 1 million people. Among them, there are 300,000 cultivators and 700,000 residents. Du Zhu said. Snow City definitely won't be able to hold on. Once the city is breached, the whole city will be massacred. It seems like we have no choice but to move. Lin Feng said. It won't be easy to move 1 million people away. The evil dominator sage said. Lin Feng waved his right hand. Glass bottles flew out one after another. The glass bottles were half filled with water. Apart from the half-filled bottles of water, there was an ancient ship sealed in each of the glass bottles. This is... Du Zhu was shocked. The evil dominator sage said, Are these the ancient warships obtained from the 9th Evil Dragon Palace's treasury? Lin Feng nodded and said, That's right. When the 9th Evil Dragon Palace was destroyed, we obtained a batch of ancient warships that we haven't used yet. There are about 500 of them. I kept 100 of them for myself in case of emergencies. I didn't expect to find a use for them today. An ancient warship like this can easily accommodate 30,000 people. We only need 30 of them to move the people of Snow City. Chapter 2260. Lin Feng gathered the cultivator army and organized the residents of Snow City to board the ancient warships. The only thing they had to worry about now was whether or not the cultivator army would launch a frenzied attack on the ancient warships. Keep in mind that if so many cultivators were to launch a frenzied attack on these ships, many of them would be destroyed. However, Lin Feng did not have time to think about that. A large number of residents boarded the ancient warships. The cultivator army's attacks were getting fiercer. Snow City's restrictions would not be able to last for long. Therefore, Lin Feng made use of the time to get everyone to board the ancient warships. The two of you will lead everyone to break out of the encirclement. Lin Feng looked at Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign saint. What about you, young master? Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign saint asked. I'll stay. The devil pagoda has appeared. I need to see what will happen next. Take the people of Snow City and leave for now. Wait for things to calm down before returning to Snow City. Lin Feng said. Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign saint knew that Lin Feng was a very opinionated person. Since Lin Feng had made up his mind, they could not change Lin Feng's decision. Crack, crack. The restrictions covering Snow City began to shatter. Let's go, Lin Feng shouted. Rumble. Under the lead of the Xianyuan ancient ship, 33 ancient warships soared into the sky. Then, they crushed the void and flew into the distance. These ancient warships were covered in restrictions. They could fly in the air, sail on the sea, and even enter the deep sea. The fleet chose a place with fewer cultivators to break out of the encirclement. Crack, crack. Finally, the grand formation protecting Snow City was completely destroyed. Kill! Earth-shaking shouts rang out. Then, a large number of cultivators swarmed toward Snow City. Fire! The temporary captains of the ancient warships gave the order to fire. The Xianyuan ancient ship was at the front. A dense barrage of spirit stone cannonballs shot out and exploded in the crowd. In an instant, broken limbs were everywhere. It was unknown how many cultivators were killed. Humph! You want to break out of the encirclement? No way. Destroy that fleet. Song Wuzong sneered. Army, attack! Roars rang out. A large number of cultivators rushed toward the ancient warships. A huge battle broke out between the two sides. Many cultivators were killed by the spirit stone shells. However, some ancient warships were also destroyed by the cultivators. Snow City's cultivators and citizens were slaughtered. This was war. War was always cruel. Let's go and check the Devil Pagoda. Song Wuzong, the 5 devils of Song Wuzong flew quickly. They didn't care about the cultivator's life and death. They were only concerned about whether the demonic pagoda could escape or not. We can't. Song bang. Bang in the next moment, they were sent flying by the force of the demonic tower. The 2 old men spat out mouthfuls of blood, their faces as pale as paper. No one can trap me. Ha 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 ha. After so many years, I'm finally going to break free. The Devil Pagoda's spirit let out a long roar. Following that, the Devil Pagoda that was chained by the 9 chains began to grow bigger and bigger. It didn't take long for the pagoda to reach a height of 100,000 meters. The Black Pagoda gave off a chilling aura. Runes covered the surface of the pagoda. These runes were very mysterious and ancient. Lin Feng didn't dare to look at them carefully. If he continued to stare at those runes, Lin Feng felt like his head was about to split open. The Devil Pagoda's spirit appeared. He had turned into a dark demonic beast. The dark demonic beast's appearance couldn't be seen clearly, but he could see a pair of blood-red eyes and 2 large horns. All these years of waiting weren't in vain. The Devil Pagoda's spirit roared excitedly. Hurry up and use the Snow Clan's blood to water the pagoda and help me break free. The Devil Pagoda's spirit shouted. Cultivators, listen to my order. Slaughter all the Snow Clan's people. Song Wuxian shouted. After receiving Song Wuxian's order, many cultivators abandoned the ancient warships they were attacking and began to surround the Snow Clan's cultivators. Go, Du Zhu shouted. He led the fleet to break out. In the end, the fleet paid the price of losing 5 ancient warships and successfully broke out. This was also thanks to the enemy's cultivators killing each other. Most of the cultivators gave up on attacking the ancient warships. If these cultivators continued to attack the ancient warships, more ancient warships would be destroyed. More people would die. We are allies. Why are you killing us? Many snow clans people roared unwillingly. These people began to break out under Xue Qianwu's lead. But Xue Qianwu only led a group of about 5,000 people. How could they break out from the army? Moreover, the cultivators that Xue Qianwu took away had betrayed her. If they continued to follow Xue Qianwu, they would only die. When faced with a choice between life and loyalty, these cultivators chose life without hesitation. Pooh, pooh, pooh. A large number of Snow Clan's cultivators were killed. Ha 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 ha, this is great. This is the smell of Snow Clan's blood. The Devil Pagoda's spirit roared excitedly. Why is this happening? I want to become the head of Snow Clan. I want to become the head of Snow Clan. Xue Qianwu roared hysterically. Her dream was to become the head of Snow Clan. In order to become the head of Snow Clan, she even betrayed the Snow Clan. But now, the reality was too cruel. Xue Qianwu could not accept it. Die! A cultivator charged toward Xue Qianwu, wielding a blood-red saber as he slashed toward Xue Qianwu's head. When Xue Qianwu regained her senses, it was already too late to dodge. She laughed bitterly. She did not expect her ending to be like this. She schemed to become the head of Snow Clan. But in the end, she ended up in such a miserable state. It was really sad and laughable. Pooh! Suddenly, a head flew into the sky and blood splattered everywhere. The cultivator who attacked Xue Qianwu died. His headless corpse fell from the sky. Then, Xue Qianwu saw a familiar face. Lin Feng. She naturally remembered him. Why did you save me? Xue Qianwu asked. She really did not know why Lin Feng saved her. In the past, Xue Qianwu even tried to kill Lin Feng. However, she failed. There was only resentment between the two of them. There was no friendship. Hence, Xue Qianwu did not know why Lin Feng saved her. I said that you will become my slave. Now that you have not become my slave, how can I let you die? Lin Feng looked at Xue Qianwu's beautiful face and said. Chapter 2261. Lin Feng was her savior, but when she saw Lin Feng's handsome face, Xue Qianwu only had one thought in her mind. That was to send this bastard flying into outer space with a single punch. The gratitude she had for Lin Feng for saving her was all thrown out the window because of Lin Feng's words. Look, that kid is really a sentimental person. He actually ran into the army to save that woman called Xue Qianwu. Zhang Wu Zong pointed at Lin Feng's direction with a mocking and disdainful expression on his face. In his opinion, if one wanted to achieve great success on the path of cultivation, one should have no distractions. Women were an important factor that hindered one's cultivation. Lin Feng's actions had already fallen to the bottom in Zhang Wu Zong's eyes. The other four demons glanced at Lin Feng with a cold glint in their eyes. They wanted to kill Lin Feng. Now that they saw Lin Feng, they naturally wanted to get rid of Lin Feng immediately. Shoot that brat to death, Zhang Wu Xin ordered. The densely packed cultivator army took out their specially made magic bows and magic arrows. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A dense barrage of arrows shot out. They were even denser than rain. Those arrows were all enchanted with arrays and were extremely powerful. Xue Qianwu's face turned as white as paper when she saw those arrows. We're dead, she said with a trembling voice. If she could live, Xue Qianwu didn't want to die. Although this woman was ambitious, she also cherished her life. She hadn't lived enough yet. What are you afraid of? Lin Feng said indifferently. He took out the purple gold heavenly ball, a defensive magic treasure. The purple gold heavenly ball was activated. Suddenly, a large amount of divine light gushed out and enveloped him and Xue Qianwu. Lin Feng grabbed Xue Qianwu's hand and rushed into the distance. A large number of arrows were blocked by the defensive divine light released by the purple gold heavenly sphere. Having a top-notch defensive magic treasure could save one's life in many cases. Just like now. The surrounding cultivators, on the other hand, were not as lucky. When the dense rain of arrows fell, it caused an indiscriminate attack. It not only attacked Lin Feng and Xue Qianwu, but also the cultivator army that wanted to surround Lin Feng and Xue Qianwu. Lin Feng and Xue Qianwu were protected by the purplish gold heavenly sphere. Thus, they were not harmed. However, the surrounding cultivators did not have such a powerful defensive magic treasure. Puff, puff, puff. Following a series of tearing sounds and miserable screams, a large number of cultivators were killed by the arrows fired by their own side. These people probably couldn't believe that they had died just like that. They were really unwilling. But even if he was unwilling, what could he do? War was merciless. On the other hand, the 5 devils of Songming Mountain were even more ruthless. They simply didn't care about the life and death of the cultivator army. If they cared about their life and death, they wouldn't give the order to fire the arrows. Lin Feng and Xue Qianwu rushed out of the encirclement. Song Wuzong scolded, "That brat really has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. I will personally kill him." Song Wuxuan said, "That brat is not worth mentioning. The most important thing now is to release the Devil Pagoda. Everything else is secondary." Song Wuzong, who originally wanted to go to Lin Feng, could only nod his head. Among the 5 devils of Songming Mountain, Song Wuxuan was the boss. He was only ranked 5th. Naturally, he had to listen to the boss. 5,000 Snow Clan cultivators were killed. Xue Qianwu's face was pale as she watched this scene from afar. Her hands were tightly clenched together. "If not for me, they wouldn't have died." Xue Qianwu gritted her teeth and said. Lin Feng said indifferently, "They deserve to die. Traitors shouldn't have a good ending." "You cold-blooded animal." Xue Qianwu stared fiercely at Lin Feng. "Am I wrong?" Lin Feng said indifferently, "Traitors are the most despicable, especially when they betrayed their own clansmen. That's even more despicable." "I will kill you first." Xue Qianwu slapped her palm towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He directly suppressed Xue Qianwu and threw her into the 4 vicious cauldrons to accompany Su Miaoqing. Blood cast. Songming Mountain's 5 devils shouted. The Snow Clan cultivators' corpses were thrown above the Devil Pagoda. Bang, bang, bang. The corpses exploded. They turned into blood rain. It descended. The blood rain poured onto the Devil Pagoda, onto the 9 chains, and onto the Emperor runes. The Devil Pagoda, the 9 chains that locked the Devil Pagoda, and the 9 thick Emperor runes on the 9 chains. They were all absorbing the blood rain. Lin Feng looked at this scene indifferently. Just like what he said to Xue Qianwu, he hated traitors, especially traitors who betrayed their own clansmen. This made Lin Feng feel even more disgusted and hateful. Lin Feng would not sympathize with them no matter how miserable their fate was. Boom, boom, boom. As the Devil Pagoda absorbed the blood of the Snow Clan cultivators, an even more terrifying energy surged out from the Devil Pagoda. That energy could destroy the heavens and earth. It was shocking. It was moving. Lin Feng took a deep breath. It seemed that the curse was about to come true. Using the blood of the Snow Clan cultivators to cast the Devil Pagoda. At that time, the Devil Pagoda would be born. It was obvious that the Devil Pagoda was about to be born. Crack, crack. Meanwhile, the 9 thick chains that bound the demonic pagoda were breaking apart. Even the 9 Emperor runes on the chain were cracking non-stop. The Devil Pagoda soared into the sky. It wanted to break the chains and the Emperor runes. However, after several attempts, it ended in failure. The chains and the Emperor runes. They could not be broken so easily. Not enough. Not enough. Far from enough. I want blood. More blood. If there is no blood of the Snow Clan, then use the blood of ordinary people to cast the Devil Pagoda. The Devil Pagoda's spirit roared. However, this time, the 5 devils did not follow the pagoda's instructions. "What are you lowly servants waiting for? Why aren't you following my orders?" The Devil Pagoda's spirit looked coldly at the 5 devils. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. Why did the Devil Pagoda call the 5 devils slaves? This made him somewhat puzzled. The Demon Lord seemed to know what Lin Feng was thinking. He said, "The Demon Lord is the Lord of all demons, so all demons are slaves in front of the Demon Lord. As the spirit of the Demon Lord's natal treasure, it is not strange for the pagoda's spirit to see other demons as slaves." Lin Feng said, "But this fellow forgot that the Demon Lord is dead." Kikik. At that moment, a gloomy voice resounded between heaven and earth. Crack, crack. Then, the void cracked. The other demonic pagoda flew out. Chapter 2262. Another Devil Tower. Lin Feng stared at the flying Devil Tower in shock. Wait, these two Devil Towers were originally one. Is the second Devil Tower the part that escaped back then? Lin Feng quickly understood what was going on. Back then, the Devil Tower had been cut in two. One had been suppressed. The other had escaped. Now, the two Devil Towers were reunited. Milord. When the second Devil Pagoda appeared, the 5 devils of Songming Mountain bowed towards it. No need for formalities. The second Devil Tower said. Between heaven and earth, not a sound could be heard. Everyone's gaze turned towards the 2 demonic pagodas. These 2 Devil Towers, they were mysterious and unfathomable. They were incomparably powerful. Everyone was silently waiting for the situation to develop. Thus, they all felt that these 2 Devil Towers were not easy to deal with. A tower spirit has actually appeared. The first Devil Tower's spirit said coldly. The second Devil Tower also manifested a Devil Tower's spirit. What surprised Lin Feng was that the second Devil Tower's spirit was exactly the same as the first Devil Tower's spirit. Even the form of the Devil Tower's spirit is an imitation of mine. It seems that your accomplishments are destined to be limited. The first Devil Tower's spirit said. The second Devil Tower's spirit said sinisterly, "This is because I want to devour you, and let the 2 Devil Towers fuse into one. That way, the Devil Towers will be restored to their former appearance." You want to devour me with just your strength? How laughable. Who do you think you are? The first Devil Tower's spirit said disdainfully, not showing any respect to the second Devil Tower's spirit. This is no longer your era. You're still trapped, yet you still dare to be so arrogant? You're simply courting death. The second Devil Tower's spirit sneered. The spirit of the first demonic pagoda said, "If it's not my era, could it be the era of an imposter like you? Remember this. Imposters will always be imposters. They can never replace the real thing." The spirit of the second Devil Pagoda mocked. "Do you know why the 5 devils of Azure Underworld Mountain would rather help me than you? It's because you're too self-righteous. Now that the Devil Lord is dead, you're no longer the high and mighty spirit of the Devil Pagoda that followed by the Devil Lord's side. You're now just a lowly prisoner, yet you're still flaunting your prowess. Who are you showing off to? You don't even have the slightest bit of self-awareness. You're destined to be abandoned by everyone. They're just a bunch of lowly slaves. Why would I care about them?" The spirit of the first demonic tower sneered. The expressions of the 5 devils of Songming Mountain were extremely ugly. The spirit of the first demonic pagoda was clearly cursing the 5 of them as lowly slaves. Lin Feng muttered in his heart. The spirit of the first Devil Pagoda was truly arrogant, as expected of an existence that followed the Devil Lord. The Devil Master had been dead for who knew how many years. This guy's arrogance had yet to be toned down. The spirit of the first demonic tower continued. "I am a god that was born after the Devil Lord gathered Xian Pin Qi and fused it with the great age, heavenly Tao origin immortal Qi. You, on the other hand, are merely an artifact spirit born from a broken demonic tower. In front of me, you're just a lowly existence. If you submit to me now, I can give you a chance to attach yourself to another treasure. Otherwise, you'll die without a proper burial." The spirit of the second demonic tower sneered. "Aren't you being too self-righteous? So what if you're a god? God sounds nice, but isn't it still the spirit of a demonic tower? How much higher level can you be compared to me?" Artifact spirits and gods were essentially the same. The only difference was that gods were stronger and of a higher level. Artifact spirits were more common, while gods were rarer. Of course, artifact spirits could evolve. When artifact spirits continued to evolve, they would have the chance to evolve into a higher level god. However, the path of evolution for artifact spirits was much more difficult. A lowly artifact spirit naturally can't compare to a noble god. It's like comparing a beggar to an emperor. You're just asking for humiliation. The spirit of the first demonic tower sneered. It was as arrogant as ever, looking down on the spirit of the second demonic tower. Lin Feng muttered in his heart. The spirit of the first demonic tower was really arrogant. However, this fellow was still trapped, yet it was already so arrogant. Would it die a horrible death? I can't be bothered to talk so much nonsense with you. Today is the day you die. The spirit of the second demonic tower sneered. Boom! Immediately after, the spirit of the second demonic tower attacked. A palm strike struck the spirit of the first demonic tower. The spirit of the first demonic tower wasn't to be outdone. It attacked as well. It attacked the spirit of the second demonic tower. Bang! Both sides collided. The spirit of the first demonic tower was actually pushed back by the spirit of the second demonic tower. The spirit of the first demonic tower's expression changed abruptly, as if it couldn't believe that it had been pushed back. The spirit of the second demonic tower said, "What? Do you find it strange? You've been trapped for so many years, so it's only natural that your strength has weakened. You are no longer my match. Once I devour you, I will evolve into a new god, and you will become a thing of the past. When the demonic towers become one, who can contend against me?" The spirit of the second demonic tower was about to attack again. However, the spirit of the first demonic tower hurriedly returned to the tower. "What's going on? Not fighting because of fear? You want to defend to the death?" Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. The current situation was indeed very unfavorable for the spirit of the first demonic tower. It had been trapped for so many years. It still hadn't escaped. Moreover, it had no helpers. It wasn't like the spirit of the second demonic tower, which had experts like the 5 demons of Ashen Underworld Mountain helping it. No matter how one looked at it, the spirit of the first demonic tower would lose this battle. Thus, the spirit of the first demonic tower had chosen to avoid the battle and take a defensive stance. In fact, this was the most correct method. However, if it just focused on defense, it didn't seem like a wise choice. It's useless. Even if you take a defensive stance, you won't be able to prevent the fate of being devoured. The spirit of the second demonic tower sneered. Then, he began to chant an incantation. As he chanted the incantation, the body of the first demonic tower actually burned fiercely. This is a sacrificial technique? He couldn't help but be shocked. He had cultivated the great sacrificial technique. Thus, he more or less had some understanding of sacrificial techniques. The demon lord said, "He's using the blood of the Snow Clan cultivators that the demonic tower just absorbed as a sacrifice. He probably wants to use the sacrificial method to defeat the spirit of the first demonic tower." What a good plan, what a good plan. The demonic tower was bathed in blood, but it didn't let the spirit of the first demonic tower escape. The spirit of the first demonic tower was happy for nothing. Now, the blood it absorbed is going to become a sacrifice for the sacrificial technique, becoming something that will take its life. Lin Feng couldn't help but exclaim. He was very impressed by the spirit of the second demonic tower's scheme. The spirit of the first demonic tower had obviously been tricked by the spirit of the second demonic tower. This time, it was likely that it would be doomed eternally. Chapter 2263. Lin Feng did not participate in the battle between the two towers. He only watched from afar. The 2 old men from the Snow Clan did not participate in the battle either. Similarly, they stood in the distance and watched quietly. The 2 of them knew that they were powerless to reverse the situation, so they did not interfere. "You want to sacrifice me? Don't even think about it." The first tower's spirit's furious voice rang out. Following that, numerous runes flickered. The shocking runes emitted violent fluctuations, shaking the void and obliterating the power of sacrifice. It's useless. No matter how you struggle, you can't escape the fate of being sacrificed. The second tower's spirit said coldly. The 5 devils of Tsangming Mountain flew out and helped the second tower's spirit deal with the first tower's spirit. That's an immortal Grandao. It can disintegrate all resistance. Suddenly, low voices rang out one after another. The 5 devils of Tsangming Mountain had used the Great Disintegration Art, one of the 3,000 Grandas. The 3,000 Grandas were rather strange. It had no offensive power. However, it could disintegrate all sorts of willpower. Originally, the 5 devils of Tsangming Mountain were filled with the will to resist. But now, they were slowly being disintegrated by the Great Disintegration Art. "No, I can't accept this. The first tower's spirit roared unwillingly. He wanted to break the great disintegration art, but after many attempts, he failed every time. The 5 of us joined forces to use the great disintegration art. Is it still not enough to disintegrate your willpower? There's no need to resist. Any resistance is useless before us. You're destined to become a thing of the past. You'll die here. The 5 devils of Sangming Mountain said coldly. Now, they had joined forces. They were very confident in their own abilities. The first tower's spirit continued to struggle. He was unwilling to die just like that. However, his struggles and resistance seemed to be futile. Why is it like this? The first tower's spirit roared unwillingly. His struggles grew weaker and weaker. His resistance grew weaker and weaker. Is the first tower's spirit really going to be killed? Lin Feng could not help but frown when he saw this from afar. He felt that something was amiss, but he could not pinpoint what was wrong. The spirit of the first demonic tower might have been very powerful in the past, but it was no longer its era. A new Devil Tower spirit was born. Furthermore, the new Devil Tower spirit had powerful existences like the 5 devils of the Azure Underworld Mountain to help it refine the first Devil Tower spirit. It seemed like it was only a matter of time. No matter how one looked at it, the fate of the first demonic tower's spirit had already been decided and could not be changed. Unless someone helped the spirit of the first Devil Pagoda deal with the spirit of the second Devil Pagoda and the 5 devils of Sangming Mountain. However, the spirit of the second Devil Tower and the 5 devils of Azure Underworld Mountain were so powerful. Who would help the spirit of the first Devil Tower? Moreover, whether it was the spirit of the first or second Devil Tower, neither of them were good people. Since none of them were good people, who would help them? In this place, only Lin Feng and the 2 old men could fight. Obviously, it didn't matter if it was Lin Feng or the 2 old men. He had no intention of making a move. The reason why Lin Feng didn't leave was because he wanted to see if there would be a situation where the sandpiper and the clam fought and the fisherman reaped the benefits. If such a situation really happened, it would be for the best. If it didn't appear, it wouldn't be too late to leave. Lin Feng believed in his ability. It wouldn't be difficult for him to leave this place. I curse all of you to die a horrible death. I curse all of you to have a fate 10 times more miserable than mine. I curse all of you to fall into the 18 layers of hell, never to be reincarnated. I curse all of you. The spirit of the first Devil Tower seemed to know that its fate was irreversible, so it began to curse. It kept on cursing the spirit of the second Devil Tower and the 5 devils of Azure Underworld Mountain. The spirit of the second demonic tower said sinisterly, "The curse of a dying man like you is of no use to us. After you die, we will become even stronger and achieve hegemony. But obviously, you won't live to see that day, because you will turn into dust and disappear from this world. O great Tao of sacrifice, please send down your supreme power. I will inherit the great will of the Tao of sacrifice and destroy all lowly beings who dare to blaspheme the great Tao of sacrifice." The spirit of the second Devil Tower howled. Rumble. A long river formed from the power of sacrifice was formed. It flowed in the void. The long river of sacrifice surged toward the first Devil Tower. Such a majestic sacrificial power was simply too powerful and terrifying. The spirit of the first Devil Tower was already having a hard time resisting the joint attack of the spirit of the second Devil Tower and the 5 devils of Azure Underworld Mountain. Now, the spirit of the second Devil Tower was displaying its might. The spirit of the first Devil Tower found it hard to resist. No, no, no. I can't accept this. The spirit of the first Devil Tower roared in fear, full of unwillingness. However, no matter how much it roared, the outcome was already decided. It was impossible to change it. The spirit of the first Devil Tower's resistance grew weaker and weaker. Bang! Finally, the spirit of the first Devil Tower exploded, turning into a ball of origin energy. Just as the spirit of the second Devil Tower was about to devour the origin energy of the first Devil Tower's spirit, unexpectedly, the spirit of the first Devil Tower, which had turned into an energy source, began to burn fiercely. Damn it! Damn it! You would rather destroy your own origin energy than leave it to me. The spirit of the second Devil Tower couldn't help but roar in anger. In just a few breaths of time, The energy source of the first demonic tower spirit was annihilated. It died just like that. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. The spirit of the first devil tower had followed the devil lord back then and was considered a famous figure. It had schemed for so long. It had thought that it would be able to escape. It had never imagined that it would be schemed against by the spirit of the second devil tower and end up dead. If I die, then so be it. Although I didn't get your origin energy, I got the tower body. Now, the two towers will merge into one. Ha 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 ha. The spirit of the second devil tower laughed heartily. Clang, 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 clang. Next, the spirit of the second devil tower made its move. The tower body it controlled crashed into the 9 chains that bound the first devil tower. The sound of violent collisions rang out one after another. The 9 chains shattered completely. The 9 emperor runes on the 9 chains were also destroyed. 2 towers merge into one. The spirit of the second devil tower roared in excitement. However, at this moment, inside the first devil tower, a cold voice rang out. Nirvana rebirth, undying and indestructible. Chapter 2264. When this voice rang out, everyone present was stunned. Wasn't this the voice of the first tower's spirit? Hadn't this fellow been reduced to ashes? Why was he resurrected? Buzz. Waves of terrifying fluctuations spread out from the spirit of the first devil tower. Immediately after, powerful waves of energy blasted toward the second tower and the 5 demons of Ashen Mountain. Bang! Sounds of violent collisions rang out one after another. The second tower and the 5 demons of Ashen Mountain were sent flying. The second tower's body was sturdy, so it didn't suffer too much damage. However, the 5 demons of Ashen Mountain were made of flesh and blood. Although they were powerful, they couldn't withstand the first tower's attacks. Wah! The 5 demons of Ashen Mountain spat out mouthfuls of blood, their faces as pale as paper. Isn't this too dramatic? Lin Feng watched this scene with his mouth agape. He originally thought that the first tower's spirit had died. He didn't expect that it wasn't the second tower's spirit that had schemed against the first tower's spirit. Instead, the first tower's spirit had schemed against the second tower's spirit. He had faked his death to confuse the second tower's spirit. When the second tower's spirit destroyed the first tower's chains and emperor runes, it had immediately undergone nirvanic rebirth and launched a counterattack. What a good plan. The older the ginger, the spicier it was. This saying was true. No matter what, the first tower's spirit had followed the demon lord for such a long time. It had probably seen too many storms. What kind of schemes hadn't it seen before? Scheming against others? It was an extremely simple matter. The second tower's spirit thought that its plan was flawless, but it had been schemed against by the first tower's spirit. From this, one could see how powerful the first tower's spirit was. There was nothing it couldn't calculate, attack together and destroy it. The second tower's spirit roared in exasperation. This was because the second tower's spirit was essentially an artifact spirit. The first tower's spirit was a god that surpassed artifact spirits. The second tower's spirit had always felt inferior in front of the first tower's spirit. This was a sense of inferiority brought about by the difference in status. Originally, the spirit of the second devil tower thought that it had successfully plotted against the spirit of the first devil tower, and the spirit of the first devil tower had also fallen. Only then did his sense of inferiority lessen. However, only now did he realize that he wasn't the one who had schemed against the spirit of the first devil tower. Instead, it was the spirit of the first devil tower that had plotted against him. In terms of life, it couldn't compare to the spirit of the first demon tower. In terms of strategy, he couldn't compare to the spirit of the first devil tower. This was a heavy blow to the spirit of the second demonic tower. This blow was hard for the spirit of the second demonic tower to accept, so much so that it became a little crazy. Boom! A great battle instantly broke out. The spirit of the second devil tower joined forces with the 5 devils of Azure Underworld Mountain to launch a frenzied assault on the spirit of the first devil tower. How can a lowly artifact spirit control the demonic pagoda? How can it display the might of the demonic pagoda? Today, I'll let you know just what kind of power the Fiend Pagoda has. The cold voice of the spirit of the first Devil Tower suddenly rang out. Immediately after, inside the first Devil Tower, waves of terrifying energy surged out. Buzz. Terrifying ripples swept out from the first Devil Tower. Those ripples seemed to be the ripples of death. They could cause indiscriminate attacks, and any cultivator who was enveloped by them would only have a path of death. Run, run, run. After sensing those terrifying ripples, Lin Feng's expression changed greatly, and he hurriedly rushed into the distance. The spirit of the first Devil Tower was simply too terrifying. After escaping, no one could suppress this fellow anymore. This fellow's combat strength was so strong that it made one's heart tremble. Fortunately, Lin Feng was already quite far away from the spirit of the first Devil Tower. Coupled with his fast speed, he quickly escaped more than 10 miles away. Therefore, he wasn't affected by the ripples. However, the densely packed cultivator army was in trouble. Bang, bang, bang. The sound of bodies exploding could be heard one after another. The densely packed cultivator army's bodies exploded one after another. None of the cultivator army who was enveloped by the ripples were spared. Over 1 million cultivator army's bodies exploded, and they died on the spot. The scene before them was like the end of the world. When the cultivator army outside saw this scene, they were so frightened that they quickly retreated, not daring to get close to the center of the battle. These cultivator army were incomparably fortunate. Fortunately, they didn't get close to the battle. Otherwise, they might have received the same order as those who died, and their souls would have already returned to the 9 heavens. Even the spirit of the second Devil Tower and the 5 devils of Tsangming Mountain were injured. The spirit of the second Devil Tower had its body pierced, and its demonic aura was greatly reduced. As for the 5 devils of Tsangming Mountain, their origin was directly injured. This caused the 5 devils of Tsangming Mountain to have extremely ugly expressions. Once any cultivator's origin was injured, it wasn't a small matter. It was enough to take their lives. Go! The spirit of the second Devil Tower shouted. It tore through the void and swept up the 5 devils of Tsangming Mountain and the remaining 3 million cultivator army. Then, it quickly left. Where do you think you're going? The spirit of the first Devil Tower sneered. Then, it chased after it. Too savage. This spirit of the first Devil Tower is simply too savage. Lin Feng couldn't help but exclaim. He didn't know how strong the spirit of the first Devil Tower was. It was so strong that it made people despair. Lin Feng and the 2 old men guarding the tower gathered together. At this moment, a dense meteor shower fell from the distant sky. This was a meteor shower, and it was extremely rare. However, the meteor shower before them was somewhat different from ordinary meteor showers. Looking from afar, one could see that the meteor shower had a faint blood-red glow. When the meteor shower fell, the blood-red glow seemed to want to devour the earth. The green-robed old man said, "The stars fall from the sky. The blood-red glow descends upon the world. The 5 decays of heaven and man appear, and monsters and demons appear." Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. He heard the words 5 decays of heaven and man from the old man's poem. This era had already gone through 2,999 great eras, and the current era was the 3,000th great era. Based on time, it was indeed time for the 5 decays of heaven and man to appear. This era had also come to an end. Countless races and living beings would disappear with the end of this era. Only a very, very small number of people could survive. Senior, what do you mean by this? Lin Feng asked. This is a poem on the heaven-shaking stone steel. This poem reveals the signs of the 5 signs of Deva's decay. When the 5 signs of Deva's decay appears, it is also the time when the myriad worlds are at their most chaotic. At this time, all kinds of characters will appear, including immortals, demons, gods, devils, Buddhas, ghosts, and so on. Even those terrifying existences that have been suppressed will break out of their suppression and come into being, just like how the spirit of the first Devil Pagoda broke out of its suppression and came into being. The 5 signs of Deva's decay, which will destroy the myriad worlds, should officially appear now. Chapter 2265. Lin Feng's expression became solemn. The five decay of the celestial being was too terrifying. The myriad worlds were destroyed, the old era was destroyed, and the new era began. Death and despair were everywhere. Such a scene, it made people despair. If one wanted to kill someone, they would first go crazy. Perhaps it was because the day of the apocalypse was getting closer and closer. That was why all kinds of monsters would appear one after another. In the last period of time, it was crazy. They might be able to become the lucky ones and survive until the next era began. If they could survive until the next era began, that would be amazing. They would simply become a supreme existence. Just like the living beings in the black fog, they were existences that did not die after the previous era was destroyed. For a very long period of time after the beginning of this era, the living beings in the black fog were all high and mighty existences. Even now, the living beings in the black fog were also existences that were almost impossible to contend with. The five decay of the celestial being has appeared. It seems that the myriad worlds are about to enter a period of turmoil. Lin Feng could not help but sigh. He would not complain about anything. He was born in this era. This was his fate. Lin Feng had always been a person who was unwilling to be controlled by fate. Therefore, he would work hard to seek a chance of survival, even if the real apocalypse came. As long as he grasped enough power, he could also protect his family, loved ones, and avoid the five decay of the celestial being. Then, he would live until the next era began. Of course, Lin Feng also knew that this was not an easy task. But so what if it was not easy? As long as he worked hard, even if he failed in the end, he would have no regrets. It seems that the great era of cultivation is about to begin again. The gray-robed elders said, "Since the end of the ancient era, the world has changed greatly. The laws of the world have become more and more unsuitable for cultivation. For such a long time, there hasn't even been a new great emperor. But now, the five decay of the celestial being has appeared. This is the last period of cultivation before the apocalypse. Before death, it is often the craziest, so the golden age of cultivation will definitely come. However, in this golden age of cultivation, perhaps only a very small number of people can grasp that trace of luck and become the lucky ones of this era. Yes, cultivators go against the heavens. We are born in this era. If we want to live, we can only madly seize luck. I hope that we won't die when the apocalypse arrives and the era collapses." Lin Feng could not help but sigh. The three were very emotional. The appearance of the five decay of the celestial being made them feel a sense of urgency. If they could survive, no one wanted to die. Even though the two old men guarding the pagoda had lived for a very long time, they did not want to die. The spirits of the first and second demon towers had already left, and the crisis of the Snow Clan had been resolved. Lin Feng contacted the Poison Ancestor and the others who had escaped. Many ships flew back to him. Everyone returned to Snow City again. The people of the Snow Clan who had returned to their ancestral land quickly received the news. Xue Zihua left some of the talented members of the Snow Clan in the ancestral grounds to cultivate, then led the rest back to Snow City. The spirits of the first and second Devil Towers were engaged in a battle to the death. The second great emperor of, he sacrificed more than 3 million cultivators. Through the sacrifice, the second great emperor of, with the help of the 5 devils of Tsangming Mountain, the second great emperor of. However, in the process of the battle, the second great emperor of Tsangming Mountain and the 5 devils of Tsangming Mountain were severely injured. As a result, both sides ended up with a lose-lose situation. In the end, they all left and disappeared, each looking for a place to heal. This caused quite a stir in the Arctic tundra. Many cultivators in the Arctic tundra watched the battle from afar and saw this unprecedented battle. The Devil Tower. It's actually the legendary Devil Tower. The Devil Lord of the Ancients. Is he the son of the Lord of Gods? I think he's called the Sky-Devouring Demon Master. Back then, he was also a peerless figure. Together with his father, he led an army of 10,000 worlds and launched a peerless battle against unknown and terrifying creatures. It's said that if they hadn't stopped those terrifying creatures, the 10,000 worlds would have been destroyed long ago. That seems to be the case according to the rumors. However, it was too long ago. There are only a few clues about what happened back then. As for what happened in that battle, it has become a mystery now. But the sky-devouring Devil Lord is definitely the strongest Devil Lord of this era. Yes, but later on, I heard that the sky-devouring Devil Lord's descendant was called the sky-devouring Devil Emperor. He controlled the Devil Tower for a short time, but it's said that the sky-devouring Devil Emperor suffered a backlash from the Devil Tower. Otherwise, he could have become the new Devil Lord. However, he died prematurely because of that injury. Now that the demonic pagoda has been split into two and is heavily damaged, it is time to suppress the demonic pagoda and refine it. This is a supreme treasure refined by the demonic lord. Once it is under our control, we can even dominate the 9 states. Let's go and find the Devil Tower. After hearing about the Devil Tower, many cultivators from the major factions began to search for the Devil Tower. At this time, Shuezihua and the others had already returned to Snow City. The Snow Clan launched an attack on the Ice Clan. The current strength of the Ice Race was extremely weak. In the previous battle, most of the Ice Race's cultivators and the cultivator army they recruited had been sacrificed by the spirit of the second Devil Tower. With the Ice Clan weakened, it was the perfect time for the Snow Clan to deal with them. The two clans had a deep grudge against each other. The battle ended with the Ice Clan's defeat. The Ice Clan became the Snow Clan's slaves. The Arctic tundra fell into the Snow Clan's territory. At the celebration banquet, everyone toasted each other. From time to time, the higher-ups of the Snow Clan would come to propose a toast to Lin Feng. They thanked Lin Feng for helping the Snow Clan. If Lin Feng hadn't helped, many people would have thought that the Snow Clan would have been destroyed. This time, the Snow Clan would have been destroyed. Lin Feng didn't refuse anyone. He drank until he was dead drunk. He didn't even know who carried him back. When he woke up the next day, he still had a headache. He stayed in Snow City for a few days. Lin Feng planned to go to the Netherworld Sea. When he subdued the Snake Empress, he had her help him recruit soldiers in the Netherworld Sea. He didn't know how the Snake Empress was doing. The Arctic tundra was only a month's journey from the Netherworld Sea. It wasn't very far, so Lin Feng could go and see how the Snake Empress was doing. After leaving the Snow Clan, Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretical holiness saint flew towards the Netherworld Sea. Soon, they left the Arctic tundra and entered the boundless Netherworld Sea. On this day, the originally clear skies of the sea were suddenly covered with dark clouds and thunder rumbled. On the sea, huge waves rose to the sky. No one knew what happened. Chapter 2266. It's not good to continue traveling in this weather. Let's find an island to take shelter. Lin Feng ordered his Deity Realm clone. The Deity Realm clone immediately changed direction and looked for an island where they could rest. Could it be that some terrifying existence is about to come into being? Lin Feng couldn't help but wonder. Soon, they stopped on a huge island. Lin Feng put the Xinyuan away and found a cave with Du Zhu and the heretic diviner saint to take shelter from the rain. The heavy rain obscured their line of sight, and visibility became extremely low. Lightning dragons and snakes swam about in the sky, emanating a monstrous divine might. It seems like a lightning tribulation, Du Zhu said. Lin Feng nodded and said, but if it's a lightning tribulation, it's really too powerful. I wonder what kind of expert is undergoing the tribulation. The heretic diviner saint said, there are many hidden experts in the overseas world. Many of them have heaven-defying cultivation bases, but no one knows about them. The heretic diviner saint's words coincided with Lin Feng's thoughts. The situation in the overseas world was indeed as the heretic diviner saint had said. Swoosh! Suddenly, a figure flew over from the ocean and entered the cave Lin Feng and the others had taken shelter in. It was a woman. After entering, she glanced at Lin Feng and the others. It's you. When she saw Lin Feng, she immediately cried out in alarm. Fairy wifey, it's you. Lin Feng grinned. Lin Feng had seen that little celestial girl in Thunder God City. She was a fairy born from a green lotus. She was a sacred spirit. Lin Feng hadn't thought he would meet little celestial here. Humph. She snorted and said, you're not allowed to call me fairy wifey. Otherwise, I'll beat you up. said the little celestial girl, waving her fists and looking at Lin Feng ferociously. However, she didn't look threatening at all. Lin Feng grinned. All right, all right, all right. I won't call you that for now. I'll call you that when you become my wife. She couldn't help but roll her eyes at Lin Feng, but she didn't refute Lin Feng. What's your name? Lin Feng asked. She frowned and said, I don't have a name. She had been born from a green lotus, so it was quite normal for her to not have a name. Of course, what surprised Lin Feng the most was that after such a long time, she hadn't given him a name yet. Said Lin Feng, do you want me to give you a name? All right, said Little Fairy, looking at Lin Feng with her big, sparkling eyes. Her eyes were pure and clean. They could calm one's heart with a single glance. Lin Feng said, we met in the sea today, and it's raining heavily. We're fated to be water and rain. Why don't we call you Shui Siyu? What do you think? Shui Siyu? Shui Siyu? Little Fairy muttered the name. A smile appeared on her face. Thank you, big brother, for giving me a name. I really like this name. I'll be called Shui Siyu from now on. Little Fairy said happily. Lin Feng smiled. As long as you like it. Little Fairy looked at Lin Feng and asked, what's your name, big brother? Lin Feng. You can call me Big Brother Feng from now on? Lin Feng said with a smile. Big Brother Feng. Little Fairy blushed and called out. Lin Feng smiled and asked, why did you come here? Little Fairy said, I walked around and looked around. I've been to many places. You're alone outside, so you have to be careful. In the martial arts world, people are sinister, Lin Feng reminded her. Little Fairy's beautiful eyes instantly curved into crescents. She said, Big brother, you don't have to worry about me. I can feel what you're thinking. What the? Lin Feng was shocked. What kind of ability was that? Wasn't it too scary? She could peek into other people's thoughts. If anyone had bad intentions towards Little Fairy, they definitely wouldn't be able to hide from her senses. Little Fairy said, if anyone has bad intentions towards me, I'll beat them to the ground with one punch. Little Fairy waved her fist as she spoke. Lin Feng was starting to wonder if his Little Fairy had violent tendencies. Little Fairy looked at Lin Feng with a giggle and said, but Big Brother Feng has never had bad intentions towards Siyu. Big Brother Feng is a good person. Lin Feng couldn't help but sweat inwardly. Fortunately, he was a gentleman and wouldn't have any bad intentions. Otherwise, he might have already been beaten to the ground by Little Fairy with one punch. Boom, boom, boom. At that moment, the sound of thunder shook the heavens. Lightning bolts as thick as mountains came crashing down. The sky darkened, turning from day to night in an instant. When I came here earlier, I saw someone, Little Fairy said. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat, and he asked, who did you see? Little Fairy said, a very mysterious person. I've seen him before, and I vaguely heard others call him His Excellency. His Excellency? Lin Feng frowned slightly. This was the first time he'd heard of this name. However, since this person dared to call him His Excellency, it could be seen that this person was definitely not a simple character. Lin Feng said, is this His Excellency undergoing his tribulation here? I don't think so. I think he's refining a treasure, Little Fairy said. Poison Ancestor cried out. Refining a magic treasure can cause such a huge commotion? What kind of magic treasure is this guy refining? Little Fairy shook her head and said, I don't know either. When I saw this person, I ran far away. He's too scary. As a sacred spirit, Little Fairy was innocent, but her strength was incomparably terrifying. She was so powerful that Lin Feng couldn't even tell what her current cultivation level was. To be able to make Little Fairy so wary, it was clear how powerful this His Excellency was. Rumble, rumble. Lightning bolts came crashing down from the sky one after another. Between heaven and earth, not a sound could be heard. Only the lightning bolts descended. They became the only thing in the world, as if they wanted to destroy the entire world. Over 3,000 lightning bolts came crashing down. Only then did the tribulation dissipate. F***CK. What kind of treasure is so freakish that it can actually attract over 3,000 lightning bolts? Duzu cried out in shock. Lin Feng muttered, it can't be some sort of primordial killing weapon, right? At that moment, A man walked over from afar. He stepped forward in the void. The man was shrouded in darkness, and his appearance couldn't be seen clearly. However, the aura emanating from his body was suffocating. Little Fairy made a shushing gesture. She hurriedly retracted her aura. Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretic holiness sage retracted their auras as well. Only after the mysterious man left did they let out a long sigh of relief. That man just now was simply too terrifying. Chapter 2267. He's the legendary Venerable One, Little Fairy said with lingering fear after the man left. Du Zhu took a deep breath and said, "That guy's cultivation is too terrifying." For someone as fearless as Du Zhu to say something like that, it was obvious how powerful the Venerable One was. This world is really full of experts. Lin Feng sighed. He then looked at Little Fairy and asked, "See you. Where do you plan to go?" "I heard that the Dark Ocean Divine Kingdom is holding an overseas insect exchange. I want to go and take a look." Little Fairy said, "Insect exchange? What kind of exchange is that?" Lin Feng asked in surprise. "It's said that it's the most popular gathering for cultivators who rear spiritual, poisonous, immortal, demonic, and other insects. At that time, many legendary insects will appear. If you're lucky, you might even be able to buy some powerful insects to cultivate. Moreover, you'll be able to buy all kinds of insect materials. Therefore, many cultivators who rear insects will choose to participate. Even if they don't buy other insects, they'll try their best to buy the materials they need," Little Fairy said. After hearing Little Fairy's explanation, Lin Feng's interest in the insect exchange was piqued. Lin Feng had two kinds of powerful insects. The first was the primordial ancestor insect. He had been cultivating it for a very long time and had thought that it would hatch soon. However, after such a long time, the primordial ancestor insect still hadn't hatched. It seemed that if he wanted to hatch the primordial ancestor insect, he would need to find some precious insect materials to cultivate it. Apart from the primordial ancestor insect, Lin Feng had also obtained a primordial demon refining insect. The primordial ancestor insect was an insect with heaven-defying individual combat strength. As for the primordial demon refining insect, it was a terrifying swarm of insects. The primordial demon refining insect was already powerful enough. Once they formed a huge swarm, they would be even more terrifying. He would be able to create a world-destroying momentum. He would eat gods, devils, ghosts, immortals, and Buddhas. He would be able to eat gods, devils, ghosts, immortals, and Buddhas. This was the great, desolate demon-refining insect swarm. No matter how terrifying an expert was, they would be devoured by these great, desolate, demon-refining insects. However, Lin Feng only had one motherworm at the moment. If he wanted the motherworm to lay eggs, he needed to find enough materials to cultivate the motherworm. Only by providing sufficient nutrients to the queen insect would they be able to survive. Only then could the queen insect lay new eggs. Therefore, Lin Feng was very interested in this insect path exchange. If he could obtain the insect materials he needed, it would not be difficult to cultivate the ancient ancestral insect and primitive demon-refining insect swarms. Lin Feng said, "I also plan to head to the Dark Ocean Divine Kingdom to participate in the Insect Dao Exchange. Why don't we go together?" "Sure." Little Fairy's beautiful big eyes curved into crescents. At this moment, the sky outside was once again clear and boundless. Lin Feng brought out the ancient starship Xianyuan. The four of them boarded the ancient starry sky ship Xianyuan. Then, the ancient starship set off for the Dark Ocean Divine Kingdom. The Dark Ocean Divine Kingdom was the #1 power in the Dark Ocean realm. Experts were as common as clouds. The last time he came to the Dark Ocean Divine Kingdom, it was because Fairy Clear Snow wanted to step on the ancient starry sky path to the Undying Realm. The news spread like wildfire, so Lin Feng came to the Dark Ocean Divine Kingdom to pay his respects to Fairy Clear Snow. 10 days later, the Dark Ocean Divine Kingdom appeared in his sight. Little Fairy said, "I've long heard that a fairy sister was born from an immortal lotus." She stepped on the ancient starry sky path from the Dark Ocean Divine Kingdom and headed to the Undying Realm. "It's a pity that I didn't get to meet her." Fairy Clear Snow was born from an immortal lotus and was also a holy spirit. As for Little Fairy, she was born from an immortal lotus and was also a holy spirit. Both of them had the temperament of someone who could rise from the mud without being stained. The only difference was that the lotuses that gave birth to them were different. Lin Feng asked, "What kind of lotus can give birth to a holy spirit like you?" Little Fairy said, "It takes root in the world's origin energy and absorbs its energy. That's the prerequisite." Lin Feng said, "That's the immortal root of heaven and earth." That's right. Lotuses like that aren't common, but when they appear, they can give birth to powerful holy spirits. Little Fairy said. Lin Feng put away the Xinyuan ancient starship, and the four of them entered the Dark Ocean Divine Kingdom's main city, the Dark Ocean ancient capital. As the largest gathering place of cultivators in the Dark Ocean, the Dark Ocean ancient capital was always bustling with activity. Now, the Insect Dao exchange was about to begin. It attracted even more cultivators, so the Dark Ocean ancient capital became even more lively. "It's so lively here." Little Fairy looked around. Selling spirit origin bugs. They can help you find origin crystal veins. Selling evil-eyed demon queen bugs. They can be raised into a swarm with terrifying offensive power. With the help of these evil-eyed demon queen bugs, fighting those stronger than you is no longer a dream. Selling 8-armed scorpion bugs. These bugs are extremely poisonous. Once bitten, no matter how high your cultivation is, your soul will die. The streets were filled with incessant hawking. Many people were selling all kinds of bugs. Lin Feng hadn't even heard of many of these bugs, so he gained a lot of knowledge. There were several times when Lin Feng couldn't help but want to buy some bugs, but Little Fairy stopped him. The bugs these vendors are selling are all lies. They're not as powerful as they say. Little Fairy said. Little Fairy was able to see what others were thinking. Therefore, the vendors couldn't hide their thoughts from Little Fairy. They might be able to deceive many cultivators who didn't know much about the Insect Dao. However, they couldn't deceive Little Fairy. Boom! A violent shock wave came from the distance. Many people were alarmed and looked over. There were cultivators fighting in the distance. Tens of cultivators had surrounded a cultivator shrouded in black robes. "Let's go and take a look. They're about to fight." Many cultivators shouted. It was human nature to watch a show. Therefore, many people rushed over when they saw that there was a show to watch. "Let's go and take a look," Little Fairy said excitedly. Clearly, she was also very interested in watching a show. Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretic sovereign sage followed. The Poison Immortal sect is here to do something. Unrelated people should quickly back off. Otherwise, don't blame us for not warning you if we accidentally kill you. Seeing that many cultivators had gathered around to watch the show, a blue-clothed cultivator immediately said coldly, "What? The Poison Immortal sect? Hurry up and back off." Many people paled when they heard the words Poison Immortal sect. They quickly backed off as if they were avoiding snakes and scorpions. Chapter 2268. Poison Immortal Sect? Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. He had never heard of this faction before, but seeing how these people were scared out of their wits after hearing the name, he knew that this faction was definitely not simple. It was very likely to be an extremely terrifying faction. Lin Feng, Little Fairy, Du Zhu, and Evil Sovereign Saint did not get too close. They were watching the show from the periphery. Seeing the surrounding cultivators retreat, the Poison Immortal Sect cultivators were clearly pleased. Many people did not know much about the Poison Immortal Sect, so some cultivators asked the cultivators around them what kind of faction it was. A Poison Immortal Sect cultivator said, "It's a hidden sect that belongs to the evil faction. It's very powerful and is most proficient in using poison. They rear all kinds of poisonous insects." "How is it compared to the Gu Evil Sect?" someone asked. The Gu Evil Sect was an evil faction that was quite famous. It was very proficient in rearing all kinds of poisonous insects. The Gu Evil Sect is nothing in front of the Poison Immortal Sect. Although the Poison Immortal Sect is not as famous as the Gu Evil Sect, that's because they keep a low profile. In terms of strength, the Poison Immortal Sect is many times stronger than the Gu Evil Sect. This poison immortal sect is so powerful. Lin Feng also heard some of the discussions around him. So this poison immortal sect was a sect that reared insects and was proficient in using poison. Few people dared to provoke such a faction. This was because such a faction could kill without a sound. Once provoked, there was an 80% chance of ending up in a bad situation. Now that the poison immortal sect's cultivators were making a move, it was inevitable that they would use poison. That was why everyone retreated like they were avoiding snakes and scorpions. They did not want to be caught in the crossfire. Hand over that item, and we'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, we'll make you suffer a fate worse than death. The blue-robed poison immortal sect cultivator said coldly. What item? Many people looked at each other in dismay. They couldn't help but reveal their interest. A treasure that could catch the attention of the poison immortal sect was definitely a great treasure. However, the people of the poison immortal sect obviously didn't intend to reveal what kind of treasure it was in front of everyone. And the mysterious person shrouded in a black robe didn't intend to reveal it either. Therefore, even though many people wanted to know what kind of treasure it was, they didn't know what it was. However, no one told them, so they could only guess what kind of treasure it was. If you want it, feel free to try. If you have the ability, then the treasure will naturally be yours. If you don't, then all of you will die in my hands today. A hoarse voice came out. This voice was very unpleasant to the ears, like the mournful cry of an owl. It was very ear-piercing. It was unknown if this mysterious person's voice was originally like this, or if this person had deliberately altered his voice. Since you don't know the difference between life and death, we'll send you to the Western Paradise today. The blue-clothed cultivator shouted coldly. This group of people from Poison Immortal Sect clearly viewed him as their leader. Boom! A group of people besieged the black-clothed cultivator. Colorless poisonous smoke spread out and shrouded the black-clothed cultivator. It's the five-colored poisonous smoke. Many people couldn't help but exclaim. Multicolored poison smoke. This was a terrifying and highly toxic poison. It was refined from the five poisons. There were many ways to refine the five-colored poisonous smoke. Depending on the type of five poisons, the power of the five-colored poisonous smoke would also be different. For a powerful sect like the Poison Immortal Sect, the five-colored poisonous smoke that they controlled was definitely extremely terrifying. Many people quickly retreated, afraid of being caught in the crossfire. Insignificant skill. Facing the five-colored poisonous smoke, the black-clothed cultivator sneered with disdain. Whoosh! Then, he took a deep breath. All of the five-colored poisonous smoke surged towards the black-robed cultivator, who then devoured all of it. Heavens! The five-colored poisonous smoke is such a terrifying poison, but he swallowed it just like that? Many people sucked in a breath of cold air. Even the poison ancestor let out a cry of surprise. Obviously, Duzu was also quite surprised. Now it's my turn to attack, the black-robed cultivator said sinisterly. His wide black robe suddenly fluttered, and a dense swarm of poisonous insects flew out. The poisonous insects landed on the faces of the cultivators. It was a seven-colored poisonous insect that looked like a ladybug. It emitted an evil power. Seven-colored ladybug. Someone recognized the poisonous insect, and his expression became extremely solemn. The seven-colored ladybug was an extremely terrifying poisonous insect. It contained 7 different poisons. Once bitten by the seven-colored ladybug, the 7 different poisons would enter the victim's body from the wound, and the victim's body would quickly fester. This poisonous insect was extremely rare and difficult to cultivate. It hadn't appeared for many years. But now, everyone saw the seven-colored ladybug again. The group of people let out shrill screams. They reached out to grab the poisonous insects on their faces. Bang! But in the next moment, the cultivators of the Poison Immortal Sect fell to the ground and died. Come back! The black-clothed cultivator reached out a pale hand and waved at the poisonous insects. All the poisonous insects flew back. Then, he left into the distance. He didn't even take the storage rings of the dead cultivators of the Poison Immortal Sect. It was as if he disdained to take them. The storage ring is mine. Many people shouted loudly and pounced over. The black-clothed cultivator didn't care about the storage rings of the poison immortal sect cultivators. But in the eyes of the other cultivators, the storage rings of the dead cultivators of the poison immortal sect were definitely worth fighting for. Lin Feng looked at Du Zhu and said, "What do you think that person's level is?" "He's an expert in using poison. He's very scary. Also, I feel that he has more than one type of poisonous insect on him. It seems like there are even more terrifying ones that he hasn't released yet," Du Zhu said. Lin Feng nodded and found an inn with Little Fairy, Du Zhu, and the heretic sovereign sage to rest. They rented a small courtyard in a high-end Insby Yuan district. After resting for a day, Lin Feng planned to go to Insect City to take a look. At night, Du Zhu grinned and said, "The Dark Ocean ancient capital has many exotic places. Why don't we go and have some fun tonight?" The big zombie said coldly, "Not going." Du Zhu pursed his lips and said, "I didn't invite you. I invited young master to have some fun together. As for you, you can go wherever you want. I don't care what you do." Chapter 2269. The Dark Sea ancient capital is a city that never sleeps. There are indeed many decent brothels here. Lin Feng smiled. He wasn't a pure and simple person. On the contrary, Lin Feng was a very open person. When it was time to cultivate, he was more hard-working than anyone else. When it was time to relax, he was more relaxed than anyone else. "Then let's go now," Du Zhu said impatiently. Lin Feng nodded and walked out with Du Zhu. The heretic sovereign sage followed them. Du Zhu said, "Didn't you say you weren't going? Why are you following us now?" "To protect Master," the heretic sovereign sage said. Du Zhu rolled his eyes and cursed, "Shameless bastard. If you want to go, then go. Stop looking for excuses. I think you're the most shameless among us." The heretic sovereign sage knew that even 10 of him wouldn't be a match for Du Zhu when it came to talking, so he ignored Du Zhu. The poison ancestor was annoyed, so he didn't say anything else. Instead, he started talking to Lin Feng about where they should go. "What are you going to do?" asked Little Celestial when she saw Lin Feng and the others come out. "We're going to drink," Lin Feng said. "Then I want to go too," Little Fairy said excitedly. Du Zhu said, "That kind of place isn't suitable for you. Girls should sleep early. That way, your skin will be better and prettier. You should stay here and sleep." Little Fairy said with a smile, "Are you going to do some shady business? That's why you're not bringing me along." At this moment, Du Zhu remembered that Little Fairy could read other people's thoughts. Du Zhu swallowed the words he was about to blurt out. Lin Feng said, "Of course not. We're just going to drink. If you want to come, you can come with us. Big Brother Feng is the best." Little Fairy giggled. With Little Fairy in the group, they naturally couldn't go to the brothels. Instead, they went to the Myriad Flower Building. This place was more formal. Lin Gongzi. As soon as he entered the Myriad Flower Building, he heard someone calling out to him. Lin Feng turned his head and saw a beautiful woman walking over. Northern Fairy Court. Lin Feng had a rather deep impression of this woman. The last time he came to the Dark Sea ancient capital, he had some interactions with this woman. On the surface, this woman was the owner of the Monarch Gazing Restaurant, an extremely famous restaurant in the Dark Sea ancient capital. But behind the scenes, there were obviously some extraordinary identities. It was just that Lin Feng didn't know the identity behind the Northern Fairy Court. "So it's Fairy from the Immortal Park. I didn't think that I would meet Fairy here." Lin Feng smiled and cupped his fists. He didn't have a deep relationship with the Northern Fairy Garden. At most, they were just acquaintances. "Ha ha ha ha, maybe this is fate." Northern Fairy Yuan giggled as she stared at Lin Feng. No one knew what she was thinking. Lin Feng smiled and said, "It's my honor to be able to meet you, celestial being. You really know how to talk, young master." Northern Fairy Yuan giggled and said, "Tomorrow, some good things will appear in the insect market. I wonder if young master has the time to accompany me to take a look?" How could I dare to refuse Fairy's invitation? Lin Feng smiled and said. Northern Fairy Yuan revealed a beautiful smile and said, "Then I won't disturb young master's gathering with your friends. I'll take my leave." Northern Fairy Yuan bowed as she said that. Then, she left. After Northern Fairy Yuan left, Duzu grinned and said, "Young master really loves everyone. Casting a wide net, catching fish diligently. You have a confidant everywhere." Lin Feng said, "That woman can't be considered a confidant. She's very mysterious." Lin Feng knew very little about the Northern Celestial Court, so he didn't talk too much about her. Little Fairy said, "This big sister seems to be plotting against Big Brother Feng. Big Brother Feng, you have to be careful." "Plotting against me? How is she plotting against me?" Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. "I don't know. I wanted to investigate carefully, but there was a mysterious force that prevented me from probing into the depths of her heart," Little Fairy said. Lin Feng couldn't help but rub his chin. He wasn't familiar with Northern Fairy Yuan. They didn't have much interaction with each other. He really couldn't understand what Northern Fairy Yuan was plotting against him. Lin Feng had always been an optimistic person. He wouldn't be troubled by things he didn't understand. Soon, he threw this matter to the back of his mind. Since he knew Northern Fairy Yuan was plotting against him, he had to be careful. He just had to be on guard against her. With his abilities, he had to be careful. It wasn't particularly difficult to guard against her schemes. Late at night, the four returned. The next day, Northern Fairy Yuan sent someone to pick up Lin Feng. Lin Feng, Little Fairy, Du Zhu, the heretic sovereign sage, and Lin Feng arrived at June Gazing Pavilion in a beast carriage. After seeing Northern Fairy Yuan, Lin Feng said, "Fairy, you wouldn't mind if I brought a few friends with me, right?" Northern Fairy Yuan smiled. "Of course not. Young master's friends are my friends." Northern Fairy Yuan was very good at winning over people's hearts. With just a few words, she was able to close the relationship between two parties. However, Lin Feng already knew that Northern Fairy Yuan was plotting against him. Thus, Lin Feng was feigning civility with Northern Fairy Yuan on the surface, but he was secretly on guard against her. He smiled and said, "When should we depart?" "Let's depart now," Northern Fairy Yuan said. The group set off for Insect City. Insect City was located northwest of the Nether Ocean ancient capital. Right now, the insect market was very lively. One could see many shops and stalls here. Some of these shops and stalls sold all kinds of insect eggs and mother insects. There were also many stalls selling insect materials. "Young master, are you rearing insects?" Northern Fairy Yuan asked. Lin Feng said, "Yes, I'm rearing some insects. I'm looking for some insect materials." "May I know what kind of insects you're rearing?" Northern Fairy Yuan asked. Lin Feng did not hide anything. "An archaic ancestral insect egg. It's about to hatch, but I feel like it's still lacking. There's also a great, desolate demon refining insect queen." Northern Fairy Yuan was shocked. These two types of insects are not simple. The insect materials required to rearing them are extremely difficult to find. "Fairy, you seem to be very familiar with this place. Do you know where I can buy such insect materials?" Lin Feng asked. "Young master, come with me. Perhaps you can find them there," Northern Fairy Yuan said. "Thank you very much for showing me the way," said Lin Feng. The group headed toward the place Northern Fairy Yuan had mentioned. Finally, Northern Fairy Yuan stopped in front of a huge palace. The words Nether Ocean Ancient Insect Palace were written on the palace. This place is backed by the imperial family of the Nether Ocean Divine Kingdom, so there are many good things for sale, Northern Fairy Yuan said. Lin Feng nodded. The group entered the palace. Just as they entered, a cultivator walked in. When he saw the cultivator, Lin Feng was slightly surprised. The cultivator who had entered was the mysterious black-robed cultivator who had killed the cultivators from the Poison Immortal sect earlier. The black-robed cultivator seemed to sense something and looked at Lin Feng. His eyes met with Lin Feng's. The black-robed cultivator looked deeply at Lin Feng, then retracted his gaze and walked deeper into the palace. Chapter 2270. Lingongzi, do you know that person? Northern Fairy Garden smiled and asked Lin Feng. Lin Feng shook his head. I don't know him, but I've seen him before. Northern Fairy Garden smiled. That person's background is not simple. I'd like to hear the details. Lin Feng looked at Northern Fairy Garden. Northern Fairy Garden chuckled and said, This is a secret. How can I reveal it so casually? If young master wants to know, then wait for us to return to the June gazing pavilion. Just the two of us, then we can discuss this matter. Lin Feng laughed coldly in his heart. He did not know what Northern Fairy Garden was up to. However, he was confident in his skills and was not afraid that the Northern Fairy Garden would plot against him. Lin Feng smiled and said, "All right, it'll be just the two of us. We can talk and do whatever we want without anyone knowing." The Northern Fairy Garden laughed and said, "Yesterday, I told you that there would be some good stuff for sale today. The place where the good stuff will be sold is in the ancient worm palace of the Dark Sea. When the time comes, I will bring you there to take a look. Maybe there will be something that you like. But before that, let's see if we can buy some insect materials that you need. Please follow me." "Thank you for leading the way, Fairy Garden," Lin Feng said with a smile. Northern Fairy Garden laughed and said, "Young master, you don't have to be so polite. Otherwise, I'll get angry," said Lin Feng smiling. He didn't reply to Bei Xian Yuan. Bei Xian Yuan's words were ambiguous. Lin Feng had no intention of flirting with this woman. Under Northern Fairy Garden's lead, Lin Feng arrived at the 4th floor and met an elder in the ancient worm palace of the Netherworld Ocean. This elder was called Lu Jianzhong. Lin Feng took out a piece of paper from the Northern Celestial Yuan and took out a piece of paper. There were more than 10 insect materials written on the paper. They were all used to cultivate Archean insect eggs and primitive demon refining insects. Bloodjade Dew, Chilean immortal grass, Dao spiritual fruit. Lu Jianzhong looked at the dozen insect materials listed on the list and frowned slightly. "Elder Lu, do you not have any of these insect materials here?" Northern Xianyuan asked. Lu Jianzhong said, "These insect materials are very precious. Originally, there were some, but a lot of them were bought during this time. Now, there are only 2 kinds of insect materials left in the treasury." Lin Feng was slightly disappointed, but being able to collect 2 kinds of insect materials was already a good harvest. He said, "I'll have to trouble Elder Lu to bring these insect materials here." Lin Gongzi, wait a moment. I'll go look for it." Lu Jianzhong smiled, then got up and left. About an hour later, Lu Jianzhong returned. "Lin Gongzi, these are the remaining 2 insect materials in the treasury. They are Bloodjade Dew and Spirit Breath Fruit." As Lu Jianzhong spoke, he took out 2 kinds of insect materials. Bloodjade Dew was a type of dew that was blood-colored. It was used to nurture archaic ancestral insect eggs. The Spiritual Breath Fruit was a type of fruit. It was used to nurture archaic, demon-refining insects. Lu Jianzhong took out a total of 3 bottles of Bloodjade Dew and 10 Spirit Breath Fruits. Although there were not many things, they were extremely expensive. Lin Feng paid a total of 1.72 million origin crystals. I'll have to trouble Elder Lu to continue to inquire about these insect materials. If they arrive, please inform me as soon as possible. I'll definitely buy them at a high price." Lin Feng said. "Lin Gongzi, don't worry. If they arrive, I'll definitely inform Lin Gongzi." Lu Jianzhong said with a smile. He liked doing business with people like Lin Feng the most. Doing business with others. Many people like to haggle. Lin Feng, on the other hand, was rich and imposing. There was no haggling at all. This made Lu Jianzhong have a very good impression of Lin Feng. "Thank you, Elder Lu." Lin Feng cupped his fists. "Elder Lu, we still have to go up to the trade fair. We won't stay here for long." Northern Xianyuan said with a smile. "I'll send you off," Elder Lu said. After leaving Elder Lu's place, Lin Feng and the others headed to the 7th floor. The trade fair's destination was the 7th floor. "It seems that these things are far from what you need, young master," Northern Xianyuan said. Lin Feng nodded and said, "If there were 10 times more things, the ancestral insect eggs might be able to hatch, and the great desolate demon refining insect queen might start laying eggs again. However, these materials are extremely rare, and it's not easy to find them. Perhaps they'll be available at the trade fair," Northern Xianyuan said. Lin Feng nodded. "I hope so." The group arrived at the trade fair on the 7th floor. This trade fair's standards were extremely high, and not just anyone could participate. However, with Northern Xianyuan around, Lin Feng and the others were able to smoothly enter the trade fair. There were about 1,000 people in the trade fair. Everyone was scattered throughout the hall. Many people took out the things they wanted to trade. Then, they placed them in front of them. If they took a liking to something, they could negotiate. Are those ancient god-eater insect eggs? Duzu pointed at a stall with some insect eggs. The ancient god-eater insect was one of the top 10 ancestral insects. It was said that these insects fed on gods. That was why they were called god-eater insects. Lin Feng and the others walked over and asked around. Sure enough, they were ancient god-eater insect eggs. What would you like to trade? Duzu asked. He seemed very interested in the ancient god-eater insect eggs. The stall owner said, I need 3 flame fiend hearts. Flame fiend hearts? Could it be the heart of an ancient flame fiend? Duzu frowned and asked. Ancient flame fiends were known as divine beasts of fire born from flames. Flame fiends looked like scorpions that had been enlarged tens of thousands of times. However, the flame demon had wings, and its entire body was a fiery red color, wreathed in flames. These divine beasts of fire were extremely powerful and evil. After the end of the primordial era, they had never appeared again. It was unknown whether or not their race had been wiped out. That's right, they're ancient flame fiends' hearts. The stall owner nodded. I don't have flame fiend hearts, but I have many other treasures. Perhaps I can use them to trade for your ancient god-eater insect eggs. Duzu said. Sorry, I only want the flame fiend hearts. The stall owner said. Then, he narrowed his eyes and stopped talking to Duzu. Lin Feng said, Let's go to the other stalls to take a look. The few of them walked toward the other stalls. Northern Fairy Yuan said, These people usually barter. If they can't find something they like, they won't trade with others. Lin Feng and the others knew this as well. Everyone nodded. Everyone, I would like to sell an Emperor Archaic insect egg. I wonder if anyone can afford it? At this moment, a cultivator spoke. His words caused a huge commotion. Chapter 2271. The Emperor Archaic was a legendary existence. An adult Emperor Archaic could even fight against a great emperor. There were even rumors that the primordial Emperor Butterfly had once killed a great emperor with a flap of its wings. From this, it could be seen how terrifying the Emperor Archaic was. The strength of such a being was unimaginable and shocking. Lin Feng had heard of the Emperor Archaic countless times. In the long years, the Emperor Archaic had only appeared a few times. Every time he appeared, it would cause a huge commotion. It was because of this that the Emperor Archaic was remembered by the world. The Emperor Archaic's strength was deeply ingrained in people's hearts. Even though the number of times the primordial Emperor Butterfly appeared was extremely few, every time the name of the primordial Emperor Butterfly appeared, everyone would feel a bone-chilling feeling in their hearts. This was because such a being was too terrifying. Now, someone was actually selling the Emperor Archaic's beast egg. This made everyone feel incredulous. Is this person crazy? He's not hatching the Emperor Archaic's egg himself and is actually selling it. He probably hatched it for a long time without success. For a heaven-defying being like the Emperor Archaic, hatching it would be extremely difficult. Yeah, how could such a terrifying being be hatched so easily? It would probably consume countless precious insect materials. Normal people wouldn't be able to afford such a huge consumption. Many cultivators were discussing spiritedly as they looked at the beast egg in the cultivator's hand with shining eyes. The beast egg was sealed in a transparent glass bottle. The beast egg was about the size of a thumb and had a golden luster. It was surrounded by countless runes. Is that the Emperor Archaic's beast egg? After seeing the beast egg, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He really wanted to rush up and snatch the Emperor Archaic's beast egg from the cultivator's hand. Such a treasure. It was enough to make anyone go crazy. Fellow Taoist, what are you planning to exchange the Emperor Archaic's beast egg for? Someone asked aloud. Everyone, you can bid. The highest bidder will get it. I don't have much interest in cultivating insects. If you have any other treasures, you can take them out and bid. The cultivator said indifferently. The cultivator wore a long green robe and had a square face. He had a scholarly aura and looked like a well-read scholar. Nature energy. Lin Feng was surprised. He had indeed sensed the vital energy of righteousness from that cultivator's body. Righteous energy was the power cultivated by Confucian cultivators. Confucian Taoist cultivators were relatively rare. Lin Feng and Ning Xiaocai were rather familiar with each other. The old Xiaocai had been studying for 80 years. Although he had never cultivated before, he had an aura of righteousness around him. At the age of 84, he directly went through the tribulation to become a God realm expert. It was truly amazing how extraordinary the path of Confucianism was. However, Lin Feng had not seen elementary scholar Ning for many years. When he had returned to the Tianwu continent, he had heard that elementary scholar Ning had come to the 9 prefectures. However, the land of the 9 prefectures was vast and boundless. It was simply too difficult to find a single person. I bid 10 pieces of sun gold essence. Soon, a cultivator shouted out his bid. Sun gold essence was a supreme divine material born from the sun. It was said that it could be forged into an emperor weapon. I bid 15 pieces of star-setting moon iron. Immediately after, another cultivator shouted out his bid. I bid a set of giant divine soldier-level equipment. There are a total of 13 pieces of various magic treasures. I bid a boundary emperor weapon. I bid one of the top 20 great Tao of the 3,000 great Tao. I bid an emperor technique. More and more people participated in the bidding. The price also rose. There was no lack of rich cultivators here, and the treasures they took out were also varied. Many of the treasures were extremely precious. Lin Feng was a little moved. Many people had put in a lot of effort to get this emperor archaic egg. I'll offer a damaged monarch weapon. Perhaps there is a chance to repair it, the black-robed cultivator said aloud. As soon as he said that, the entire trading hall became silent. Although the emperor weapon was broken, it was still an emperor weapon. It was not something that could be casually compared to any magic treasure. A broken emperor weapon. There was indeed a day when it could be repaired. Once it was repaired, it would become a true emperor weapon. At that time, it would still be incomparably heaven-defying. Who would take out such a treasure? Who would be willing to take it out? The black-robed cultivator did not hesitate to take it out. Lin Feng had a very deep impression of this person. Previously, when he killed a group of experts from the Poison Immortal sect, this black-robed cultivator displayed a very terrifying ability. Is there anyone else who wants to trade with me? The Confucian expert asked. For a moment, no one in the trading hall made another bid. I bid 4 divine abilities, Lin Feng said. The Confucian cultivator looked at Lin Feng and asked, What divine abilities? Lin Feng said, These 4 divine abilities are one of the 3,000 great Tao and 3 emperor techniques. The Great Disaster technique is ranked 9th among the 3,000 great Tao. The 3 emperor techniques are the 4-armed sacred demon fist, 9 slashes of the demon emperor, the 10,000 demon reincarnation fist. Hiss. The Great Disaster technique is ranked 9th among the 3,000 great Tao and 3 emperor techniques. Who is this young cultivator? His moves are extraordinary. Many people could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. Everyone looked at Lin Feng and guessed Lin Feng's identity. I've been trying to cultivate both Confucian and demonic recently, so I can use these 3 demonic emperor techniques. The Great Disaster technique is a divine ability that everyone dreams of. Not bad. Not bad. The Confucian cultivator nodded in satisfaction. The black-robed cultivator said, How can a few great Tao compare to my emperor weapon? Even if the emperor weapon is broken, its value is far greater than a few great Tao. The Confucian cultivator said, Your emperor weapon is naturally precious, but I don't lack powerful protective treasures. No matter how good your emperor weapon is, it's not destined for me. Humph. Hearing the Confucian cultivator's words, the black-robed cultivator could not help but snort coldly. His expression was indifferent, but he did not say anything else. Young man, I'll trade with you, the Confucian cultivator said. Lin Feng took out a jade tube and said, The cultivation methods of the 4 great Tao are recorded in this jade tube. Please take a closer look. The Confucian cultivator said, The emperor archaic egg is here. Please take a look. Both sides exchanged items. Lin Feng mainly checked if the emperor archaic egg was still alive. The Confucian cultivator checked if the cultivation methods of the four great Tao were broken. Both sides checked and found that there were no problems, so they smiled. No problem. The Confucian cultivator said with a smile, I have no problem here either. Lin Feng smiled. Chapter 2272. Congratulations, young master, for obtaining the Emperor Archaic Egg. Congratulations, master, for obtaining the Emperor Archaic Egg. Congratulations, big brother Feng, for obtaining the Emperor Archaic Egg. Du Zhu, the evil sovereign sage, and little fairy all thanked Lin Feng. They were sincerely happy for Lin Feng. He. Xian Yuan also congratulates young master for obtaining the Emperor Archaic Egg. Northern Xian Yuan said with a charming smile. Haha, I still have to thank Fairy for bringing me here. Otherwise, how could I obtain the Emperor Archaic Egg? Lin Feng said with a smile. The Emperor Archaic was a terrifying existence that could kill great emperors. To be able to obtain the Emperor Archaic Egg, Lin Feng was naturally very excited. Now, Lin Feng already had the Archaic Ancestral Worm Egg, the Chaos Demon Refining Insect Queen. And now he had obtained the Emperor Archaic Egg. Once the Archaic Ancestral Worm, the Emperor Archaic, and the Chaos Demon Refining Insect Swarm hatch successfully. When the time comes, they will form an insect army. Wouldn't they be able to kill anyone in their way? If anyone dares to blindly jump around in front of him, he wouldn't even have to do anything. He could just summon the insect swarm and take the opponent's life. Northern Xian Yuan said with a charming smile. If young master really wants to thank me, then when we are alone later, young master will have to perform well. Northern Xian Yuan's words were very flirtatious, but Lin Feng only laughed it off. Lin Feng said with a smile, when the time comes, I will definitely follow Fairy's wishes. Then it's a deal. Northern Xian Yuan winked at Lin Feng. After the Emperor Archaic Egg transaction was completed, the trading hall returned to normal. Cultivators gathered in groups of 2s and 3s, discussing the price of the insect eggs, insect queen, or insect materials that they wanted to purchase. Lin Feng noticed that the black-robed cultivator would occasionally glance in his direction with a cold glint in his eyes. Clearly, the black-robed cultivator was still brooding over what happened earlier. However, Lin Feng did not care about what the black-robed cultivator was thinking. It was fine as long as this person didn't provoke him. If he dared to provoke him, would he be afraid of him? Now, Lin Feng had extraordinary means, and he also had a pseudo-emperor-level puppet. Unless it was an extremely heaven-defying character, Lin Feng was not afraid of anyone. Lin Gongzi, come and take a look. Is this the heavenly orchid grass you want? Baixian Yuan stood in front of a stall and waved at Lin Feng. Lin Feng walked over and found that the stall was indeed selling geraniums. This kind of heavenly orchid grass was a material used to cultivate the mother worms of demon refining insects of the Great Desolate Era. The effect was excellent. There were a total of 36 stalks. Lin Feng asked, "What's the price for your heavenly orchid grass?" The other party was a cultivator with an aura of death around him. He should be an evil cultivator. When he saw Lin Feng, he grinned. He had a deep impression of Lin Feng. "Give me the Great Calamity technique, and the heavenly orchid grass is yours," the evil cultivator said. Lin Feng couldn't help but roll his eyes. No matter how precious the heavenly orchid grass was, it was not worth mentioning compared to the Great Calamity technique. This guy was obviously trying to extort Lin Feng. Du Zhu rolled up his sleeves and said, "You want to exchange a few stalks of grass for the Great Calamity technique? Do you believe that I won't punch you? I'll let you see a fist bigger than a sandbag." The evil cultivator said calmly, "There are people from the Dark Ocean Divine Kingdom maintaining order here. If you want to fight, I'm afraid you'll be thrown out." Lin Feng patted Du Zhu's shoulder, indicating that he didn't need to be angry with this person. It was not worth it. "Let's take a look at the other stalls," Lin Feng said. He turned and walked towards the other stalls. Seeing that Lin Feng was about to leave, the evil cultivator immediately said, "Why are you leaving so quickly? Everything can be discussed. I don't want to talk nonsense with you." The four-armed sacred demon fist, the 9 slashes of the demon emperor, and the 10,000 demon reincarnation fist are very useful to evil cultivators like you. You can choose any one of these 3 emperor techniques, and the heavenly orchid grass is mine, Lin Feng said indifferently. The evil cultivator originally wanted to stop Lin Feng and exchange the heavenly orchid grass for Lin Feng's 3 emperor techniques. However, when he saw that Lin Feng was very firm and only wanted to exchange 1 emperor technique for the heavenly orchid grass, he felt a little depressed. However, he could only compromise in the end. This evil cultivator's instinct told him that if he made any new requests, the deal would end early. He could obtain 1 emperor technique of the demon Tao. In truth, the evil cultivator was quite satisfied with the result. Okay, I'll exchange it with you, the evil cultivator said. I want the 9 slashes of the demon emperor. No problem. Lin Feng nodded and took out a jade tube. After imprinting the 9 slashes of the demon emperor, he handed the jade tube to the evil cultivator. Lin Feng took 36 stalks of heavenly orchid grass. Everyone, I want to sell a queen insect. This queen insect is called the blue scorpion queen insect. It's a type of poisonous blue scorpion. Friends who are interested can bid. At this moment, another cultivator came to the middle of the transaction hall and shouted, Blue scorpion queen insect? That's a highly poisonous creature. It's said that 10 drops of blue scorpion queen insect's poison can kill a great emperor. So poisonous. Yes, this is a poisonous insect that only appeared in the chaotic ancient era. It's said that this poisonous insect came from the foreign realm. The foreign realm? Things are really scary. I'll offer a heavenly Tao origin crystal. I'll offer 3 heavenly dragon inner cores. After a short discussion, many cultivators started to participate in the bidding. In the end, the blue scorpion queen insect was bought by a mysterious woman wearing a veil. Lin Feng collected 2 more insect materials. They were fire snake crystal and dark demon spirit grass. Fire snake crystal was used to nurture immemorial ancestral insect eggs. Dark demon spirit grass was used to nurture desolate era's demon, refining insect queen insect. Cultivating the primordial emperor butterfly's eggs also required many precious insect materials. However, Lin Feng was slightly disappointed that no insect materials for nurturing emperor archaic appeared in the transaction hall. The first day of the transaction hall ended. Everyone dispersed. Lin Feng looked at Du Zhu, evil sovereign sage, and little fairy and said, You guys can go back first. I will follow Fairy Yuan to June Pavilion. Little fairy winked at Lin Feng. Clearly, she was reminding Lin Feng to be careful of Northern Fairy Yuan. Lin Feng nodded without leaving any trace behind. Young master, you must have fun, Du Zhu said with a grin. His eyes swept back and forth between Lin Feng and Northern Fairy Yuan. Then, he let out a mischievous smile. Lin Feng nearly kicked Du Zhu into the foreign realm. This fellow's personality was one of wanting to stir up trouble. Young master, let's go, Northern Fairy Yuan said, and walked towards the beast carriage. Lin Feng followed behind Northern Fairy Yuan and boarded her beast carriage. They headed towards June Pavilion. Chapter 2273. On the 5th floor of June Gazing Pavilion, the sound of a zither could be heard. A group of beautiful dancers were dancing gracefully. Northern Fairy Yuan was playing the zither herself. The sound of the zither lingered in the air. It was beautiful. Lin Feng was enjoying the music as he drank. He had a smile on his face as he tried to guess why Northern Fairy Yuan had called him here. Since Little Fairy had sensed that this person was harboring ill intentions towards him, Lin Feng believed that Little Fairy's senses would not be wrong. However, Northern Fairy Yuan's performance was too perfect. Even if she wanted to deal with him, she did not show any hostility. Her tolerance. Lin Feng admired her. However, a fox's tail could not be hidden forever. There would be a time when it would be exposed, just like now. She might even expose her hidden intentions. Northern Fairy Yuan's zither music was very pleasant to the ears, and Lin Feng could not help but marvel at it. The zither music ended. The dancers stopped as well. The Northern Immortal Garden waved at the dancers. The dozen or so dancers quickly retreated. Young master, what do you think of the zither music just now? Northern Fairy Yuan asked with a smile. Lin Feng said, "It was sweet and melodious. It made me feel as if I was in a charming environment with a small bridge and a bamboo forest. I also saw a beautiful fairy standing on the bridge. She looked like a fairy who had descended from the 9 heavens. She smiled at me." "Young master, do you still remember what that fairy looked like?" Northern Fairy Yuan asked with a smile. She was so far away, yet so close. Lin Feng looked at Northern Fairy Yuan. Northern Fairy Yuan smiled and said, "Young master, you only know how to make me happy. How can I compare to a fairy in your artistic conception?" Lin Feng smiled and said, "Fairy, you don't have to be so modest. Your beauty is enough to shock the world. Although I have never seen a fairy from the immortal world, I believe that there are very few fairies who are as beautiful as you." Northern Fairy Yuan said, "Young master, you're praising me so well. Could it be that you're attracted to me?" Lin Feng smiled and said, "My ambition is to cultivate. I'm not interested in romantic relationships, so I'm sorry to disappoint you." Lin Feng could not help but blush when he said such untrue words. It seemed that he was not thick-skinned enough. He should have trained with Du Zhu more. Northern Fairy Yuan sighed and said, "There are many beautiful sceneries on the path of cultivation. Young master, you can stop and admire them. Life is not just about cultivation. There are many things to do." Lin Feng smiled and said, "But I'm interested in cultivation. Other things can hardly arouse my interest." Beixian Yuan looked even more sad. People who didn't know better would have thought that Lin Feng and Beixian Yuan were in love. Moreover, Northern Fairy Yuan's "Young master, you have truly hurt this servant's heart." Northern Fairy Yuan said with tears in her eyes. "Continue. Keep acting." Lin Feng laughed coldly in his heart. He did not believe Northern Fairy Yuan's pitiful expression at all. Women were born actresses. This saying was not false at all. Of course, Lin Feng did not express his thoughts. He had always been calm and collected. He did not appear too distant from Northern Fairy Yuan, but he also did not appear too close to her. "I don't have the fortune to enjoy the grace of a beauty. I can only reject Fairy Yuan's kind intentions. I hope Fairy Yuan will be able to find a good home in the future," Lin Feng said. Northern Fairy Yuan rolled her eyes at Lin Feng and said, "The future is long. Who knows how things will develop in the future? Who knows? Maybe we'll be able to work together in the future." Lin Feng smiled and said, "If that day really comes, I will remember the conversation between you and me today. I will definitely remember it." After a pause, Lin Feng said, "Fairy Yuan, you said you knew that black-robed cultivator. Can you tell me who he is?" Northern Fairy Yuan said, "That black-robed cultivator is not simple. He's from the Demon Severing Sect." "Demon Severing Sect? What sect is that?" asked Lin Feng. He was surprised. Northern Fairy Yuan said, "The Demon Severing Sect is a very ancient sect. This sect has a unique trait, which is that it only accepts one disciple in each generation." Lin Feng said in surprise, "There's actually a sect like that? Aren't they afraid of losing their legacy?" Northern Fairy Yuan said, "Some of the older members of the Demon Severing Sect are still alive, so there's no need to worry about losing their legacy. If any of their disciples are killed, they can just find a new successor." Could that black-robed cultivator be the successor of the Demon Severing Sect's younger generation? Lin Feng could not help but ask. That person's methods were terrifying. Lin Feng's heart was pounding. Now that he thought about it, Lin Feng was extremely scared of that person. This sect is too mysterious, so outsiders don't know much about them. However, I do know that that person shouldn't be the successor of the younger generation. Northern Fairy Yuan said, "Why do you say that?" Lin Feng asked. About 7 or 8 years ago, the Severing Demon Sect was looking for a new generation of disciples. Usually, these disciples are 5 or 6 years old and have just started cultivating. Although they are still young, they are in the beginning stage. This stage is often very important. There is a saying that goes, "Victory at the starting line." Therefore, the disciples of the Severing Demon Sect are raised from a young age. If the Severing Demon Sect had found a new disciple 7 or 8 years ago, the current disciple of the Severing Demon Sect would be 13 or 14 years old. not that black-robed cultivator. Northern Fairy Yuan said. That makes sense. Lin Feng nodded. Northern Fairy Yuan continued. You took the Emperor Archaic's egg. Obviously, that black-robed cultivator is very unwilling to accept it, so you have to be careful. The demon-severing sect is very terrifying. As a demonic sect, their inheritances are the best. Apart from that, they're also very good at rearing insects. It's said that they're also very good at refining all kinds of poisons. Lin Feng said. You have to be careful of that person. Thank you for the warning, Fairy Yuan. Northern Fairy Yuan smiled. We're already so familiar with each other. You don't have to be so polite. Actually, I invited you here because I need your help with something else. Oh? What is it? Lin Feng asked calmly. He knew that Northern Fairy Yuan's foxtail was about to be exposed. She had bad intentions towards him, but how could it be so easy to get rid of him? She needed to create an opportunity for her to make a move. It's like this. I obtained a relic from the Moon Palace Fairy. This relic hides a huge secret. It vaguely leads me to a secret place. I know that you're proficient in formations, so I wanted to invite you to accompany me. Northern Fairy Yuan smiled. The goddess of the Northern Immortal Garden said with a smile. Her tone was filled with a hint of pleading. Her pitiful look was truly pitiful. Chapter 2274. Finding the secret area that the Moon Palace Fairy's relic led her to was a lie. She wanted to scheme against him. Of course, what the Northern Fairy Yuan said could also be true. First, he had to find the secret area that the Moon Palace Fairy's relic led him to. After that, he would think of a way to get rid of him. Lin Feng said, Of course, but I have some matters to attend to, so I can't leave for now. I'm afraid it'll be some time before I can accompany you. The Northern Fairy Yuan smiled. As long as you can accompany me, I'm willing to wait for you at any time. The Northern Fairy Yuan knelt in front of Lin Feng and poured some wine for Lin Feng. Please have some wine, sir. The Northern Fairy Yuan said sweetly. Thank you, Fairy Yuan. Lin Feng downed the wine in his cup. He didn't stay at the Northern Fairy Yuan for too long. After discussing the matter, Lin Feng left. That woman knows how to endure. It seems that we have to be on guard against her. If we really go to that secret area, we have to be on our guard. The Demon Lord said Lin Feng. I'll be careful. I want to see which influential group the Northern Xian Yuan belongs to. Now that I think about it, the Northern Xian Yuan woman is really good at plotting against people. When I first met her, I had a good impression of her, but I didn't think she would set me up for such a long time. She plotted against me for such a long time. If you hadn't been able to read her mind, I would have been killed and I wouldn't even know how I died. Lin Feng couldn't help but laugh coldly. The Demon Lord said, The human heart is sinister. That's how the world is. When Lin Feng went back to his room, the Poison Ancestor, the Evil Zun Saint, and Little Fairy hadn't gone to bed yet. When they saw Lin Feng, the Poison Ancestor smiled. What a beautiful night. How come you came back so quickly? Wouldn't you be letting down the beauty of the moon? Lin Feng pursed his lips. What else could I do? Are we going to spend the night there? Duzu smiled and said, Looks like the other party didn't keep you here, so you have to return in disappointment. Lin Feng said, Who said you didn't ask me to stay? It's just that I'm a gentleman, not a casual person. Little Fairy asked, What did that bad woman say to Big Brother Feng? Lin Feng said, She wants me to follow her to a secret place to explore. I guess she wants to attack me in that secret place. Big Brother Feng can reject her. Little Fairy said. Lin Feng said, I promised her. Little Fairy asked in confusion, since Big Brother Feng already guessed that she was going to make a move in that secret area, why did Big Brother Feng still agree to her request? Isn't that the same as putting yourself in danger? Lin Feng replied, Because I want to know who this woman has been plotting against me for such a long time. I want to know who is behind her. Little Fairy nodded her head. Although she was naive, she understood the meaning behind Lin Feng's words. In the next few days, Lin Feng went to the insect market several times, but he couldn't find the insect materials he wanted. Little Fairy, on the other hand, had bought some insect eggs. She wanted to cultivate a batch of insects. Big Brother Feng, I have to go. One day, Little Fairy said to Lin Feng, Where are you going? Lin Feng asked. I want to go to the ancient demon continent because my roots are there. Little Fairy said. Ancient demon continent, one of the 9 provinces. It was the main base of the 9 provinces Yao clan. As for Little Fairy, she was born from the Green Lotus. From a certain perspective, she could indeed be considered a demon. Now, Little Fairy was going to the ancient demon continent to find her roots. That was reasonable. Lin Feng was reluctant to part with Little Fairy. Little Fairy waved her hand and smiled sweetly. Goodbye, Big Brother Feng. When we meet again, Big Brother Feng has to make a lot of delicious food for you. Lin Feng smiled. I guarantee you'll be very satisfied. After Lin Feng sent Little Fairy off, he decided to leave with Du Zhu, the heretic sovereign holy sage, and the next day. When they returned to their residence, they saw that the street was very crowded. It was so crowded that not even a drop of water could trickle through. The 3 of them walked over. After asking around, they learned that an old immortal had appeared in the ancient capital of the Dark Sea. This old immortal was not simple. He was good at divination. Many people who sought out this old immortal for divination had their wishes come true. It was said that even the imperial family of the Dark Sea divine nation had sought out this old immortal for divination. Could it be that we met an expert? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. The 8 trigrams technique, the 9 palaces technique. Of course, there were many other techniques. They could be used to divine many things. This old immortal seemed to be proficient in these arts. Divine, when will I become an emperor? Make way! Make way! Poison Ancestor yelled loudly and then began to squeeze his way in. I want to ask, when will I become an immortal? Stop daydreaming. Many people curled their lips and said, You can't become an immortal, but I'll become an emperor sooner or later. Du Zhu said confidently. Your skin is thicker than the city walls. Many people curled their lips and said, The old immortal's divination can't be done for free. The rules are written here. If you want to seek out the old immortal for divination, you have to show enough sincerity. There's no free lunch in this world. A middle-aged cultivator stood in front of a shop and said, There was a signboard in front of the shop. The signboard was filled with words. Divination of marriage, 100,000 origin crystals. Divination of fate, 1 million origin crystals. Divination of the future, 10 million origin crystals. Du Zhu read the contents of the signboard. F***CK. Isn't this too expensive? Is he a scammer? Du Zhu shouted. No matter how he looked at it, he looked like a scammer. The middle-aged cultivator immediately glanced at Du Zhu and said, Friend, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't speak carelessly. Who doesn't know about the old immortal's abilities? You're insulting the intelligence of everyone here by doubting the old immortal. The middle-aged man was good at stirring up the atmosphere. The poison ancestor immediately felt the vicious gazes from all around him land on him. Du Zhu smiled awkwardly and said, I'm not doubting the old immortal. I'm just lamenting. The middle-aged cultivator said, Since the old immortal dares to charge such a high price, it proves that he's really capable. Otherwise, he wouldn't dare to scam people here. Lin Feng agreed with the middle-aged cultivator's words. Could there really be such a powerful divination technique? Could he ask the old immortal to divine Du Guya's whereabouts? Are you guys divination or not? If not, hurry up and make way. Don't block the people behind you. The middle-aged cultivator said. Fortune-telling, of course, said Lin Feng, walking into the shop. Du Zhu and the heretic dominator sage followed him in. The moment they entered, they saw the old immortal. The corner of Lin Feng's mouth twitched. He rolled his eyes and said irritably, Why are you here? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.